Chapter 2003. Translator, H2DH2 Mr. This blade gleam was like a dragon soaring through the 9 heavens, piercing through the void. The might of this blade was unbearable for all living things in the surroundings. No, Long Yi deliberately let the people of the desolate country go. He retreated in order to advance, luring Du Xiaofu over. In the farmhouse, the aged face of the elder who had fought against Long Yi changed. Long Yi possessed the treasure of the dragon clan, true dragon saint-slaying blade. If he had used such a blade at that time, then even if he and that elder of Mo clan joined hands, it would have been difficult to resist. That's not right. With Long Yi's personality in the 5 dragon guards, even if he was luring the demon king over, he wouldn't have let Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, and the others off so easily. The village elder had a suspicious look on his face as thoughts flashed through his mind. Suddenly, he muttered softly, could it be that Long Yi is afraid of that mysterious guy? In an instant, the blade gleam cut through the air and the roar of a dragon resounded. It brought with it a terrifying energy storm and a pitch-black spatial crack. There was also lightning shuttling back and forth, making one's hair stand on end. The power of this saber caused countless faces to be dumbfounded. The power of this saber was actually so strong that it was terrifying. What powerful strength, what a powerful saint weapon! Someone exclaimed. The might of this blade was condensed from Long Yi's own strength and that saint weapon. Rumble, wherever the blade gleam passed, the earth shook as if there was an earthquake. Huge cracks continuously spread out on the ground. With such a blade gleam sweeping over, Du Xiaofu's gaze finally wavered. Golden light surged in his eyes and from the center of his palm, a dazzling beam of light instantly shot out like a divine ray. Boom, the dazzling light wrapped around a terrifying energy vortex, causing the space to tremble. The mysterious runes on the talisman shone brightly, crazily absorbing all the energy of heaven and earth in the surroundings. Wang, wind and thunder resounded, and under the trembling gazes of the crowd, the mountain range below swayed in an instant. Large swaths of mountain peaks and cliffs directly cracked open like a spider web, and then with a loud bang, the mountain peak collapsed into pieces. As the purple-gold light bloomed, a purple-gold broadsword with the bones of a tiger and the body of a dragon revealed the secret patterns of the azure dragon and the black tortoise. It was as if the azure dragon soared into the sky and the black tortoise was entrenched. The 2 sides of the sword were like phoenixes facing the sun, crossing the 9 heavens. The hilt of the sword was like a tiger, ferociously roaring, as if it was about to pounce. Whoa, everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. The cries of dragons and tigers, the cries of birds and the cries of turtles, filled the sky with dazzling mysterious runes. Suddenly, an azure dragon shadow soared into the sky, a white tiger shadow crouched down, a phoenix shadow flapped its wings, and a black tortoise shadow appeared as if it wanted to suppress the world. The 4 beasts soared into the sky and coiled around the dragon shadow in an instant. It's that divine weapon. When such a broadsword appeared in the void, Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, and many others were shocked. They had seen the power of this divine weapon before, but at this moment, they felt that the power of this divine weapon was many times stronger than before. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had summoned the purple gold heavenly tower that had been suppressed for a long time, allowing it to come out into the world. The purple gold heavenly tower originally felt that the 5 dragons soared inside Du Xiaofu's body could no longer endure. If it wasn't for Du Xiaofu forcefully suppressing it, it would have rushed out of the tower. At this moment, the purple gold heavenly tower was released by Du Xiaofu, and it had already sensed the aura of the true dragon's sacred slaying saber. It was like a wild horse that had escaped its reins or a falcon that had seen a rabbit. It immediately pounced towards the true dragon's sacred slaying saber. At this moment, such a peerless divine weapon was like a peerless demon that had awakened. It made people feel as if their souls would wither and be destroyed just by looking at it. Woo, the roars of dragons and tigers, the cries of birds and turtles, immediately suppressed the dragon's shadow saber light. Such a divine weapon made Long Yi's eyes fluctuate violently for the first time. He could feel that his true dragon's sacred slaying saber seemed to be trembling a little. However, this was the true dragon sacred slaying saber, one of the most precious treasures of the dragons. It was the killing weapon that the dragons had given him when he entered the heavenly devil battlefield this time. Long Yi didn't think that his true dragon's sacred slaying saber was inferior to the strange sword of the former. He condensed a sword art and the true dragon's sacred slaying saber in his hand also flew out. Awu, the true dragon's sacred slaying saber seemed to have turned into a resplendent dragon. The dragon roared in the 9 heavens as it pounced towards the purple-gold heavenly tower. Saint weapons had weapon spirits that were the same as the primordial spirit of their owners. At this moment, the true dragon's sacred slaying saber pounced out like a living creature. Its power erupted as if it could shatter the heavens and the earth. The purple-gold heavenly tower was like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. 4 phantoms soared into the sky and directly suppressed the true dragon's sacred slaying saber. Such a battle left all the living beings in the surroundings dumbstruck. Long Yi and Du Xiaofu hadn't made a move yet, but the 2 weapons in their hands were already so terrifying. Du Xiaofu didn't pay much attention to the confrontation between the purple-gold heavenly tower and the true dragon's sacred slaying saber. His gaze was fixed on Long Yi. Boom! As the purple-gold heavenly tower pounced out, the back of Du Xiaofu trembled as the golden rock wings extended out from his back. The golden rock wings emitted a golden light as if the sun was shining in the sky. The supreme beast's aura wasn't inferior to Long Yi's. Qi La, with a flap of his wings, Du Xiaofu's figure seemed to have turned into lightning. In the confrontation between the true dragon's sacred slaying saber and the purple-gold heavenly tower, he appeared in the sky with a series of afterimages. Amidst the dazzling scene, he suddenly pounced in front of Long Yi. Looking at Du Xiaofu's figure approaching, Long Yi's burning eyes trembled. He faintly felt a dangerous aura, but this didn't affect his confidence. In fact, it couldn't affect his confidence. Ao Ao. A dazzling golden light burst out from Long Yi's body. His battle armor glowed, and the dragon horn on his shoulder seemed to have come alive. It wanted to drill out of the dragon's shadow. As the void trembled, Long Yi clenched his fist and punched at Du Xiaofu with lightning speed. It was simple and had an origin, direct and violent. Long Yi wanted to get rid of Du Xiaofu directly. He didn't want to drag things out. He wanted to kill Long Yi in the shortest amount of time and in the most efficient way. Only then would he be able to match his status as the crown prince of the dragons. Ao 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 Ao. Long Yi's punch caused the void to tremble. That golden energy ripple seemed as if it came from the end of the earth, and mixed with the roars of numerous dragons, it was a spectacular sight. It shook the entire world and caused it to rumble. Dragon shadows filled the sky. Numerous dragons rushed into the sky. It was as if they could shake the stars down from the sky. The scene was shocking. Tyrannical Dragon Fist, the ultimate move of the true dragons. It is rumored that ancient true dragon experts could shatter stars with a single punch. Old Lady Mo's eyes trembled. Such a punch was very terrifying. Tyrannical Dragon Fist was extremely terrifying. That huge energy wave was like a stampede of beasts. It rumbled as if it had the power to destroy the world. It wanted to smash down the stars in the sky. Cyan Spirit Armor. Tyrannical Fists. Du Xiaofu continued to charge forward. The golden wings on his back shone brightly, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged great rocks. The moment his figure pounced, layers of golden light flashed, and feather-like armor covered his body. An incomparably domineering aura suddenly swept out from his body. He raised his arm and punched, directly meeting the attack. Boom! Chapter 2004. A.O., the fist, accompanied by the long trumpeting of a divine elephant, instantly collided with the former. Boom, the entire void suddenly rumbled. At the place where the two fists collided, the surrounding void suddenly fell into the curtain of night, revealing a pitch-black vacuum that swallowed all light. Its might was unparalleled, suppressing the vast sky. Peng peng peng, after that, the surrounding space completely exploded, shattering inch by inch. The explosion was like thunder, lightning flashed, and runes surged. The ground below cracked without end, and the cracks on the ground that were as thick as an arm spread out like a spiderweb. Goo goo, everyone swallowed their saliva, their hair standing on end. Chi la. Almost at the same time, under the gaze of many trembling with fear, Long Yi's figure was directly knocked down from midair like a meteor. With a rumbling sound, he smashed into the rocks beside the abyss. Huge rocks rolled down, and large cracks climbed up the cliff. The entire earth seemed to have experienced a violent earthquake, shaking unceasingly. In the void, an armored figure floated in midair. Above the armor, golden light rippled. The feather-like armor was like the golden feathers of a golden-winged rock, growing layer upon layer. It was divine and magnificent. The golden wings of the rock behind his back shone with boundless golden light, and the faint cry of the golden-winged rock could be heard. It pierced through the clouds and split rocks, and an incomparably domineering aura swept through the void. Long Yi was actually defeated in one move. Everyone's eyes trembled, and all of them were stunned. Even if there were people who knew that the Demon King Du Xiaofu had always been valiant and savage, they would never have thought that the Demon King Du Xiaofu would be able to defeat Long Yi in one move. Something's not right. Demon King Du Xiaofu's hand has blood. Could it be that he was injured? Someone was astonished. From afar, they saw that the right fist of the Demon King Du Xiaofu that had just attacked was stained with blood. Boom! In the blink of an eye, from within that tumbling boulder, crushed stones flew everywhere and rocks exploded. Then, a golden figure soared into the sky. It was Long Yi who had just smashed down. Merely, at this moment, Long Yi's complexion was extremely pale, and his hair was disheveled. He no longer had his previous extraordinary heroic appearance, and instead, he cut a sorry figure. Dark red dragon blood was overflowing from his fist. That's Dragon One's blood. Demon King Du Xiaofu made Dragon One bleed with a single punch. Some people secretly cried out in alarm. The blood on the hands of Demon King Du Xiaofu came from Long Yi. When their fists collided, Long Yi was bleeding. Long Yi could be said to be the number one person below the Saint Plane. As a descendant of the true dragon bloodline, his talent was needless to say. Dragons were the supreme beast race. Even the defensive power of a dragon's body was absolutely terrifying. Even cultivators of the same level would be helpless in the face of such defensive power. Demon King Du Xiaofu's fists collided, and Long Yi was bleeding. What kind of strength was this? Naturally, everyone didn't know that when Du Xiaofu was in the space of the divine domain, he had broken through and faced the strongest strength of the same level. He had succeeded in fighting against 9 opponents at the same level, and had finally achieved boundless nirvana. After stepping into boundless nirvana, Du Xiaofu would be able to fight against more than 10 opponents of the same level. In addition, the recent benefits obtained in the Heavenly Devil battlefield had strengthened the strength of Du Xiaofu's spirit watchtower and primordial spirit. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's cultivation had also reached the pinnacle of the immortal realm. With such cultivation strength, Du Xiaofu was enough to be invincible below the Saint Plane. Although Long Yi had a dragon's body with abnormal defensive power, ordinary cultivators would naturally be trampled if they wanted to fight against him. However, in terms of physical body, Du Xiaofu was even more abnormal. The golden rock body refining technique of the true rock realm, coupled with the immortal Xian body, and the cyan spirit armor with explosive defensive power, Long Yi could only be trampled by Du Xiaofu at this moment. At this moment, the person who was most shocked was definitely Long Yi. As the bloodline of the true dragon in the body of a dragon, especially after walking out of the divine dragon tomb, he had obtained great benefits. Long Yi had thought that he was invincible below the Saint Plain, except for the black-robed man who had followed Du Yunlong and the other disciples of the barren country. Along the way, he had indeed not encountered any opponents below the Saint Plain. He also thought that he was invincible below the Saint Plain. But now, feeling the pain of the cracks on his fist, Long Yi realized that the deaths of Long Air and the others were definitely not due to carelessness. The human in front of him was abnormal. He was a strong opponent. Wu, in the void not far away, the vacuum was chaotic. The roars of dragons, tigers, birds, and turtles pierced the clouds and cracked the stone. The four beast phantoms of the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise suppressed the giant dragon. Although the giant dragon roared ferociously and the dragon's might erupted, as if a true dragon had awakened, it could not break free under the suppression of the four beast phantoms. Wu, this did not take long. At the same time, a dazzling light erupted from the purple-gold heavenly palace like a suppressed volcano. Astonishing and dazzling runes soared into the sky, causing gusts of wind and thunder, mixed with the cries of ghosts and gods, as if there were gods and demons roaring. Rumble! Rumble! From the purple-gold heavenly palace, a terrifying evil aura swept out at the same time, causing the void to collapse and the surrounding space to explode. In the next moment, the purple-gold heavenly palace bloomed with purple-gold light. The god of weapons was peerless in the sky and directly swallowed the true dragon Saint Slayer blade. Humph! For some unknown reason, a muffled groan came from Long Yi's throat. He raised his head and looked at the true dragon Saint slaying blade. His gaze froze, and his complexion became even paler. He felt as if the energy of his true dragon Saint slaying blade was being devoured by that strange broadsword. The weapon spirit within the true dragon Saint slaying blade was terrified. What's going on? Long Yi was secretly shocked. The strange broadsword of the former had a terrifying evil aura that made the weapon spirit of the true dragon Saint Slayer blade tremble in fear. There was also an extremely strange devouring power that was pervasive and was devouring the energy of the true dragon Saint Slayer blade. It even wanted to devour the weapon spirit of the true dragon Saint Slayer blade. This was too shocking. This was the first time he had encountered such an inconceivable thing. The strength of the evil aura and devouring power shocked Long Yi. Use your true body, or you won't be able to withstand a single blow. Du Xiaofu stood in the air and golden light shone brightly. The golden rock wings on his back and the cyan spirit armor on his body resonated with each other. He was like a humanoid rock, incomparably domineering and looking down disdainfully on the world. Long Yi's eyes surged. Everything was beyond his expectations. If he didn't use his strongest strength, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to end the battle today. He wouldn't be able to kill the human in front of him. Then, as you wish. These words came out from Long Yi's mouth, and golden light erupted from his body. It was as if a volcano was erupting. Along with rumbling sounds, mysterious runes and dragons might fill the sky, and half of the sky was covered. A huge golden dragon stretched across the void. Chapter 2005. Rumble. When such a huge dragon appeared in the sky, its aura at the pinnacle of Nirvana realm caused the sky to rumble and tremble. There was a mysterious mist spreading in all directions of the void, bringing with it a great dragon's might. Under such a dragon's might, both beasts and humans felt their hair stand on end. Even their souls were trembling. Those with lower strength were already trembling violently, vomiting blood, and their faces were deathly pale. Du Xiaofu's eyes widened when he saw such a huge dragon in the sky. Other than little Xingxing, he had never seen a dragon body with such a strong dragon's might. Kill! Dragon 1 roared and his dragon scales glowed. At this moment it was as if a true dragon had been born, releasing the most dazzling light and pressure. It shattered the space and pounced directly at Du Xiaofu. Roar! The huge dragon covered the sky, its claws creating clouds. Its dragon horns glowed and rumbled as it moved. The light was like a divine chain forming a line, bringing with it a vast and turbulent dragon's might. It instantly arrived in front of Du Xiaofu. "I'll kill you today." Facing that huge dragon soaring across the sky and rumbling dragon's might, Du Xiaofu's tyrannical and fierce aura didn't diminish in the slightest. With a shake of his arm, the surrounding void suddenly distorted and became chaotic, imprisoning Du Xiaofu's huge dragon body. In an instant, a strange pattern appeared in the void and enveloped Dragon 1. This was a void 8 trigrams diagram. Rumble, the sky trembled and the ears rumbled. With Du Xiaofu as the center, the void 8 trigrams diagram swept out like a divine ring, suffusing with brilliant light. In an instant, mountains and lakes were formed. Wind, rain, thunder, and lightning alternated. The sun, moon, and stars changed. Mountains and rivers moved. All kinds of strange phenomena descended from the sky. At this moment, all the living beings in the world trembled. All the living beings looked at that kind of void 8 trigrams diagram. That vast pressure was silent, but it revealed a kind of power of heaven and earth, making all living beings want to prostrate themselves in worship. Roar, Dragon 1 roared, and his body was suddenly blocked. His deep dragon eyes changed greatly. Under that strange power, it was difficult for him to break free from the void enveloped by the 8 trigrams. A vast power was able to suppress him directly. Rumble, in an instant, the heavens rumbled. Dragon Yi's huge body crossed the void, half of it submerged in the sea of clouds. His pair of dragon eyes were like the sun, and his dragon claws tore through the void. 9 divine rings directly appeared above his body. That was the nirvana power of a great supreme. Ow 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 ow, dragon roars resounded unceasingly, and 9 divine rings appeared in the sky. Dragon E roared, and the sound waves seemed to be mixed with countless dragon phantoms floating in the sky. His voice was melodious, and it penetrated the void, making the world boil. Break! Long Yi angrily roared. All kinds of supreme talismans and mysterious runes covered his 9 divine rings. At this moment, the terrifying aura within Long Yi's body was peerlessly terrifying. It could shake one's soul, and it caused the surrounding void to collapse. The void 8 trigrams diagram trembled as if it wanted to break through and tear it apart. Pu, in the surrounding void, many living beings suddenly spat out blood one after another for some reason, and their bodies went limp. It's a nirvanic grand paragon, coupled with the dragon's dragon soul heavenly roar. It's a physical attack and a primordial spirit attack. Everyone, be careful. Seal off your 7 apertures. Within the great family clans, an old man's expression changed. His voice rang out, and light surged, protecting the young disciples who weren't strong enough. Roar roar, the dragon roar was melodious, and it was filled with supreme dragon's might. The sonic boom was accompanied by the power of the nirvanic grand paragon. This was Long Yi's supreme technique, and it was too terrifying. Du Xiaofu stepped into the air. Behind him, a divine ring had unknowingly appeared. This divine ring was exceptionally bright and dazzling. It erupted with brilliant light, like the sun rising from the east. Buzz! Buzz! This divine ring was in the air, and the ancient land was rumbling. Within the divine ring, Du Xiaofu's golden light surged, and it was enveloped and blended with the divine ring. It was as if it was a transcendent being, and it was sacred and inviolable. It gave people a feeling of the beginning of the world, and the birth of all living beings. At this moment, the aura on Du Xiaofu's body wasn't as strong as Long Yi's nirvanic grand paragon's might. This kind of aura was spreading, and it didn't even make much noise. However, this kind of aura made the surrounding living beings start to hesitate, and they had a feeling of wanting to bow down and worship it. Those living beings who were spitting out blood under Long Yi's might suddenly felt the pressure disappear, and they felt indescribably comfortable. Suppress. Du Xiaofu spoke. The golden wings of the great rock behind his back flapped as he soared through the air. His aura gushed forth like a waterfall, gushing up and down, causing the space around him to undulate. As Du Xiaofu walked towards Dragon one step at a time, the 8 trigrams diagram in the sky rippled, and all kinds of phenomena on the 8 trigrams diagram fused with the divine ring. It was as if a new world was being born, and it suppressed Dragon One's huge body once again. Chi-la-la, at this moment, for some unknown reason, the 9 divine rings behind Long Yi started to dim. They looked like dried oil lamps that were on the verge of being extinguished. What kind of nirvana is this? The pupils of Long Yi shrunk. At this moment, he was able to sense the terrifying pressure emanating from that divine ring. It was as if he was facing a spirit god sovereign. His grand sovereign Nirvana wanted to prostrate himself in worship. His dragon soul heavenly roar primordial spirit attack was powerful enough to destroy the primordial spirits of all living beings. However, in front of Du Xiaofu, it seemed to be completely useless. Not far away in the void, dragons and tigers leaped, birds and turtles chirped. The 4 beasts above the purple-gold heavenly tower suppressed the huge dragon. The purple-gold heavenly tower emitted a murderous aura as it devoured the true dragon's sacred slaying blade. Within the true dragon sacred slaying blade, a dragon roared once again. A dazzling, crystalline dragon roared out, looking ferocious in the sky. This was the weapon spirit within the true dragon's sacred slaying blade. Wang, the purple-gold heavenly tower cheered as if it had seen its prey. However, in the next moment, a monstrous light surged out from within the purple-gold heavenly tower. It turned into shadows of swords, spears, swords, and halberds. Then, it condensed into a dazzling thunderbolt. It was so close that the crystalline dragon was directly crushed into pieces by the unstoppable thunderbolt. Then, the purple-gold heavenly tower shone brightly as if it had condensed into a huge mouth in the void. It swallowed the shattered dragon shadow. Oh no, Dragon One's pupils suddenly shrunk, but there was nothing he could do. He instantly spat out a mouthful of dragon blood. The weapon spirit within his true dragon's sacred slaying blade had been killed and devoured. He was severely injured. Wang. As Dragon One's weapon spirit was devoured, the purple-gold heavenly tower let out a cheerful vibrating sound, accompanied by the endless cries of ghosts and gods. The true dragon's sacred slaying blade is destroyed. Gugu, looking at the scene in the sky, the elders of the Nong family and the Mo family were dumbfounded. They gasped and were unable to recover for a long time. Bastard, no matter what price I have to pay, I will kill you today. Dragon One roared. Suddenly, a ball of dazzling golden light surged out from within the dragon claw. It was wrapped in rays of auspicious light. Looking closely, everyone saw that it was only a drop of blood, but it burst out with a terrifying pressure. Dragon One then opened his mouth and swallowed this drop of blood. Boom! As this drop of blood was swallowed, the light around Dragon One's body surged into the sky. His aura shook the universe. Suddenly, a monstrous golden light burst out from his body, blasting the void around him. Unparalleled surging dragon power swept out. In just an instant, the power on Dragon One's body violently skyrocketed. It was as if it was infinitely close to the saint realm. It even carried a kind of saintly might. Oh no, that must be the true dragon blood essence. Dragon One brought a drop of true dragon blood essence with him. Rumor has it that in the tomb of the divine dragon, there are 3 drops of true dragon blood essence left behind by the ancient true dragon at the cost of his own cultivation in order to let the dragon stand tall. It is said that the true dragon blood essence contains sacred will. Beasts such as serpents and flood dragons can directly transform into dragons if they obtain it. If the descendants of dragons obtain it and use it when breaking through the saint realm, they can directly step into the saint realm. In order to deal with the demon king Du Xiaofu, Dragon One even used the true dragon blood essence. It is almost as if he is breaking through to the saint realm as the price. The elders of the Nong family and the Mo family exclaimed, their faces full of shock. At this moment, Dragon 1 had indeed used the true dragon blood essence. He had obtained a drop of true dragon blood essence from the tomb of the divine dragon. He had originally planned to use it when breaking through to the saint realm to obtain the greatest effect and become a saint in one fell swoop. But now, Dragon 1 had no choice but to use the true dragon blood essence. He had to pay any price to kill Du Xiaofu today. Roar, Dragon 1's power skyrocketed. Accompanied by his saint aura, the 9 divine rings that were about to be annihilated a moment ago became bright and dazzling again at this moment. It even set off monstrous waves in the void 8 trigrams diagram. Waves of dragon aura were like true dragons that had crossed the ancient time and space to descend, quickly sweeping towards Du Xiaofu. The terrifying pressure made the void 8 trigrams diagram almost crack. It even impacted one of the divine rings behind Du Xiaofu. It was terrifyingly powerful. Not much weaker than a half-saint. Such power made Du Xiaofu's eyes ripple. At this moment, the power on Dragon 1's body was not much weaker than a half-saint. Boom! However, Du Xiaofu did not have any intention of retreating. His eyes shot out purple-golden lightning, like 2 purple-golden suns shining. The domineering and terrifying aura made the space rumble. In the next moment, dazzling purple-golden lightning arcs surged out from Du Xiaofu's golden body. A supreme aura filled the air, suppressing the heaven and earth. At this moment, dazzling purple-golden lightning arcs swept across the sky. The purple-golden talisman runes flickered and swept across the sky. It was impossible to provoke, and it also swept across the sky with a murderous aura. Gee! The purple-golden lightning arcs shot out in all directions in the void 8 trigrams diagram. It was as if the sun had risen in the void 8 trigrams diagram. Countless purple-golden lightning arcs poured down, emitting a blazing radiance. A huge purple-golden thunder rock phantom spread its wings and soared into the sky. The purple-golden thunder rock phantom enveloped Du Xiaofu's body. It merged with the boundless nirvana divine ring and the void 8 trigrams diagram, and it was about to soar into the sky. Suppress! Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. It was like the cry of a rock, piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks. It stirred up monstrous lightning that rose and fell like a vast ocean. It seemed as if it wanted to stir up the sky and the earth. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was enveloped in the purple-golden thunder rock, and it was as if he had transformed into a real golden-winged rock. Du Xiaofu directly crossed the void and suppressed Dragon 1. The phantom behind him spread out its huge wings, and purple-golden lightning arcs sparkled all over its body. Its ferocious aura spread out, causing the entire world to tremble. Chapter 2006. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's 8 trigrams void diagram, the boundless power of nirvana, the lightning martial vein, and the supreme beast energy of the golden rock merged into one. Such a huge power turned the universe upside down, and the void rumbled as it bound Dragon 1. The enormous purple-gold thunder rock soared through the sky with endless lightning and boundless nirvanic brilliance. With a vast and inviolable might, it directly suppressed the dragon's body. The 9 divine rings above Dragon 1's head dimmed as they roared and surged. But no matter how much Dragon 1 used his full strength, he couldn't break free from the suppression of the purple-gold thunder rock. The vast power could directly bind and suppress him to the point where he couldn't resist. Bang, 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 even someone as powerful as Dragon 1 had his dragon scales shattered under this terrifying power. He spat out blood from his ferocious mouth, and his body was bleeding profusely. In the next instant, Du Xiaofu's figure walked out from the purple-gold thunder rock and stepped onto the suppressed Dragon 1's huge back. At this moment, Du Xiaofu seemed to be standing at the peak of the same realm, looking down on all opponents of the same realm. He was unparalleled and looked down on everyone. I've said that I'll kill you today. Du Xiaofu stood on Dragon 1's huge back and said such a domineering sentence. At the same time, he waved his hand, and the purple-gold heavenly tower in the void beside him rapidly turned into a purple lightning bolt and rushed into his hand. Buzz! When Du Xiaofu's last word fell, the purple-gold heavenly tower was already in his hand. He swung the sword down, and a bright sword light directly slashed out. This sword was simple and direct, but it was supported by a powerful force. The sword light flashed through the void, and blood immediately splashed out from Dragon One's neck. The dragon's scales were directly shattered, and a crack appeared on his huge neck. The sword light flashed and disappeared, and with a purple-gold arc, it was invincible as it sank into Dragon One's neck. Immediately, Dragon One's head was separated from its body. It had a blank look on its face, and its huge dragon pupils shrank in shock. The fear of death surged out from its dragon soul for the first time, and it grew like wild grass. Dragon blood was dripping down, floating in the air, condensing and not dissipating. It was gorgeous and dazzling, but also mournful and terrifying. This scene caused everyone who saw it to be shocked to the point of being horrified to the extreme. The sword fell, and Dragon One's head was separated from his body. This scene was deeply imprinted in the dragon souls of all living beings. Bang, 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 the huge dragon body fell onto the cliff, causing the ground to shake. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu was holding a dragon horn in each hand as he hovered in the air. At the same time, in Du Xiaofu's palm, there was a drop of blood that shone with resplendent light and was suffused with mist and auspicious light. It emitted a terrifying dragon's might, as if an enormous dragon was about to break free. This was the true dragon's blood essence that Dragon One had just consumed, and it had not been completely refined. Dragon One only wanted to use the power of this true dragon's blood essence to help improve himself, and he wanted to use it to kill Du Xiaofu. This true dragon's blood essence was then unceremoniously suppressed and sealed by Du Xiaofu. After doing all this, Du Xiaofu stepped onto the dragon's head and looked at the distant void. From afar, it looked like he was standing on a huge dragon head mountain suspended in the void. If it were not for the dragon's blood still spilling from his neck, it would be hard to believe that it was Dragon One's head. As powerful as Dragon One was, he was definitely an invincible existence under the Saint Realm, but at this moment, his head was really cut off by Du Xiaofu. Such a supreme existence like Dragon One, who had exhausted the dragon's greatest resources and endless effort, died just like that. In the surrounding void, all living beings raised their heads to look at the golden-armored man with the golden wings spread, and they were shocked and excited. That was a dragon slayer. Dragon One was unwilling, and his dragon pupils shrank and trembled, but in the end, he powerlessly closed his eyes. Dragon One is dead. The old man in the farmer's house, the beautiful woman leading the Mo family, Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, and the others were all trembling. The 9 sons of the dragons have all died in the barren country. The luck of the dragons has come to an end, and the rise of the barren country is unstoppable. The old man in the farmer's house sighed as he looked at the dragon-slaying demon king. He was so shocked that he could not recover from his shock. Boom! 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 Suddenly, in the distant void, there was a surge of aura that rushed to the sky, and there was lightning and thunder. The Rock Emperor is invincible, greetings to the Rock Emperor. Such a voice came from the distant void, accompanied by the sound of wind breaking. In the surging aura, dozens of figures broke through the void and landed in front of the huge ferocious dragon's head. They respectfully knelt in the air on one knee and saluted. They were the Miameng King, the Thunder Hawk King, the Mysterious Dragon King, the Stone Turtle King, and the other experts of the barren country. When they saw the dragon slaying from afar, they could no longer hold back the boiling blood in their bodies. They no longer hid and rushed to the sky. Behind the Miameng King and the others, there were 3 other figures that were slowly flying over. On the right was a man in a cloud robe. His black hair was shoulder-length, and his body was muscular. His gaze was like a blade, deep and powerful. The figure in the middle was sexy and graceful. She wore a pair of leather shorts that wrapped around her perky buttocks. Together with her straight and slender legs, there was a silent seductiveness amidst the heat. Although she was not devastatingly beautiful, she was extraordinarily beautiful. Her pitch-black eyes were as clear as a stream of water, bright and beautiful like a reflection of the sunset. The third man on the left had a chiseled and handsome face. His thick eyebrows were slightly raised in a rebellious manner. His pair of pitch-black eyes were like two black holes. His hair was tied up in a bun, and he wore a light purple robe, which made him look extremely elegant. It's them, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, and Jiangchen. When the three arrived, people whispered to each other. Du Xiaofu saw the last three as well. They were his second brother, Du Yunlong, and his eldest sister, Du Xiaoman. He was also slightly surprised by Jiangchen's appearance. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes widened, and he looked up at the sky. At almost the same time, Jiangchen raised his head slightly, his handsome profile impeccable. His eyes, like two black holes, looked in the same direction as Du Xiaofu. "Bastard, we dragons definitely won't let you get away with it, you little bastard." The moment Du Xiaofu and Jiangchen looked up, a furious roar filled with venom and monstrous killing intent rang out like a dragon's roar. Off in the distance, space tore apart as a dazzling figure shot toward Du Xiaofu with the speed and brilliance of a meteor. When this figure appeared, the space in this ancient and desolate region suddenly froze. It was as if the world itself was twisting and distorting. Such a strange change immediately caused all the living beings present to feel it. All of them felt their heartbeats quicken, as if a 5,000-kilogram boulder was pressing down on their chests, and it wanted to crush their hearts and shatter their souls. Just this aura alone was enough to cause such a terrifying sensation. This level of strength caused all the experts present to pale with astonishment. Chapter 2007. Dragons, at least a half-saint. The faces of the elders of the Nong family and the Mo family changed. Such a terrifying aura made them secretly aghast. That was the aura of a powerful dragon's, a true half-saint or above. The newcomer shot out from the void like lightning, attracting Du Xiaofu's attention first. His gaze had already sunk. That level of aura could not escape Du Xiaofu's sharp primordial spirit. That was a true half-saint or above, definitely not weaker than the earth demon envoy from the devil religion not long ago. Whoosh! 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 1 arrow, 2 arrows, 3 arrows. At the same time, green light shone brightly in the void. The sound of wind breaking was like thunder, and 3 arrows shot out from the side of the void towards the newcomer. Wherever the 3 light arrows passed, a large area of space was directly distorted. Before the arrow tip, the space collapsed, and the light traces that distorted space pierced through space. This was Dongli Qingqing's attack. She had been watching the surroundings closely, and the moment the newcomer appeared, she did not hesitate to summon the Taiqing demon subduing bow. A dazzling green light spread out like the sun. The ancient bow in Dongli Qingqing's hand emitted a terrifying aura, like an ancient god awakening from a deep slumber. A mysterious power burned as the bow was pulled back and released. These 3 arrows were too frightening. They caused the figure of the dragon clan to be obstructed. Immediately, he came to a halt in the void. Monstrous light erupted. Accompanied by a dragon roar, it turned into a strange palm print that distorted the void in front of him and blocked the attack. The 3 arrows shot out and collided with the palm print, carrying a mysterious and vast force that devoured life. Although the last 3 arrows pierced through the palm print, they were powerless to continue and disappeared into the void. Dongli Qingqing's delicate body staggered back a little. Her beautiful face was a little pale, and her dark brows furrowed. Dongli Qingqing had used all her strength to shoot those 3 arrows, but they could not do anything to the newcomer. They could only block it. Boom! Above the void, golden light filled the sky, and purple-gold lightning arcs swept out. Monstrous energy ripples shook the sky, dominating sword path. At the same time, an indifferent and overbearing shout resounded, and then a strand of violet gold sword light flashed forward. This sword seemed to be able to split a mountain. There was nothing fancy about it. However, wherever the sword radiance passed, the space collapsed, revealing traces of a vacuum, accompanied by purple-gold lightning arcs that swept out in all directions. This sword brought with it a domineering aura that made one tremble in fear. Energy pressure spread out from it, causing the space to tremble violently. A terrifying sword intent also swept through the clouds. That overbearing sword aura made people's hair stand on end. This was Du Xiaofu attacking at the same time. The aura of the dragon race was coming, so Du Xiaofu did not hesitate at all and struck first to gain the upper hand. The dragons had no time to dodge at all. They could only wave their hands. As the might of the dragon surged, a palm print condensed and turned into the shadow of a dragon. Qi La, the sword light and the dragon's shadow collided, but there wasn't much of a sound of energy. Only the terrifying sword light turned into rune ripples that swept through the surrounding void like a tsunami, and the purple-gold lightning arcs flew away. Dang dang, the figure of the dragons was sent flying. The void behind him shattered inch by inch, and the shattered space ripples shot out in all directions like waves. Humph! A muffled snort came from the throat of the person. He seemed to have suffered a loss. In the end, he stomped his foot, and the void under his foot cracked. His figure stopped 100 feet away. It was an old man who looked to be in his 60s or 70s. His bald head was like a piece of jade, but there was a mysterious pattern glowing like a dragon tattoo on his head. The old man's forehead bulged slightly, and his eyes were filled with venom. He stared at Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing, who had just arrived at Du Xiaofu's side. His face was filled with rage, and it was dark and unsightly. If I'm not wrong, that's the Shan Long Saint of the Dragons. He's much more senior than Long Teng. It's said that one sword has been in seclusion for many years. I didn't expect him to come out. The beautiful woman leading the Mo family looked at the old man with a frown. Is he in the saint realm? Mo Runan was surprised, and her charming face changed. She said, could it be that saint realm cultivators can already enter the heavenly devil battlefield? He shouldn't have set foot in the saint realm, but he's already a half-saint. Maybe he's not too far away from the real saint realm. The beautiful woman was also surprised. The seal outside the heavenly devil battlefield should have been weakened to the point that even half-saints could enter. Maybe the real saint realm could enter at this moment. It seemed that the real dispute in the heavenly devil battlefield had begun. A half-saint expert. I'm afraid that the demon king will be in trouble. Zhou Xiaoluo raised her eyes and felt the aura of the dragon's expert. She was worried about Du Xiaofu. Not necessarily. The demon king didn't suffer a loss just now. The old man leading the Mo family said. At this moment, Shan Long Saint was staring at Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing with a gloomy face. The broken dragon soul stones of dragon heir, Long Teng, and the others in the clan proved that they had been killed. He entered the heavenly devil battlefield with all his strength and got the news that the demon king, Du Xiaofu, had massacred the dragons. Long Yi was the last hope of the dragons, and no accident could happen to him. Therefore, Shan Long Saint used the secret method of the dragons to find Long Yi. He wanted to protect the last hope of the dragons. But in the end, he felt Long Yi's dragon soul dissipate. He rushed over and saw Long Yi being killed with his own eyes. He was furious and wanted to kill Du Xiaofu directly. However, Shan Long Saint didn't expect that with his cultivation and strength, he would be stopped by the 3 arrows of the young woman. Then, he was forced back by Du Xiaofu's sword. He even suffered a loss. Secretly observing Du Xiaofu, Shan Long Saint didn't need to guess. He had already recognized Du Xiaofu's identity. That golden-winged ping sword had proven his identity, and he was also secretly shocked. He was clearly a human, but his aura was like that of a real golden-winged pang. You are Du Xiaofu, right? Anyone who kills my dragons will be torn to pieces by my dragons. Shan Long Saint stared at Du Xiaofu. His anger drowned out everything, and the killing intent in his eyes was undisguised. If looks could kill, Du Xiaofu would have died 10 times over. Du Xiaofu's expression did not change much when he heard Shan Long Saint's words, which were filled with killing intent. However, he was secretly surprised. Shan Long Saint's strength seemed to be stronger than the Earth Demon envoys. His Tyrant Sword Way and Lightning Mysteries had been directly countered by Shan Long Saint's attack. The dragons have provoked me time and time again. I can't let them trample on me. Looking at Shan Long Saint, Du Xiaofu said indifferently. He felt that Shan Long Saint's aura was not at the level of the true Saint Realm expert who had chased after him. He estimated that Shan Long Saint was at most a half-step saint. Although Du Xiaofu didn't dare to be careless with such a cultivation, he was absolutely not afraid. Chapter 2008. Du Xiaofu was looking forward to it. Back then, he had almost killed the Earth Demon envoy, but unfortunately, the 9 Demon Emperor had interfered. This time, the half-saint dragons had come. If he could kill him, it would be another blow to the dragons. It wasn't difficult for Du Xiaofu to know that there were only a few half-sage experts in the entire dragon race. Killing one of them was enough to shock the entire dragon race, and cause serious damage to their bones. This saint doesn't care about that. Since you dared to touch my dragons, you must pay an absolute price. Only by wiping out your entire clan can I vent my hatred. Today, this place will be your burial ground. The Shan Long Saint stared at Du Xiaofu, unmoved by his words. His expression was sinister and gloomy. Dragons could touch others, but no one could touch dragons in the slightest. He couldn't allow insignificant humans to look down on the dragons. Killing several of the dragon's descendants was already a great humiliation to the entire clan. Not far away, Jiangchen's hair was sticking to his back. His eyes were as deep as black holes. He quietly watched everything in front of him. Shameless old man, you're only a half-saint, yet you dare to call yourself a saint. You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications. Facing the Shan Long Saint's sinister sneer, Du Xiaofu's expression suddenly became unsightly. His lips curled into a sneer. The golden wings on his back glowed with golden light, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged great rocks. Holding the purple gold celestial tower in his hand, his eyes also filled with killing intent. He slowly raised his head and grinned at the Shan Long Saint. As for wiping out my entire clan, to be honest, you don't even have the qualifications to stand in front of me. With your half-saint cultivation, I'm afraid you wouldn't even dare to step into the gates of the desolate country, let alone the gates of the golden-winged great rocks. Even if you had the guts, you wouldn't dare to approach the gates of the golden-winged great rocks. Du Xiaofu's words reverberated in the void. The surrounding creatures were left in a daze. It was clear that he didn't even put semi-sage dragons in his eyes. However, at this moment, no one felt that this demon king Du Xiaofu was being arrogant. Long Yi's head was still floating in the air. His sword strike just now had directly pushed back that half-saint expert. He definitely had the ability to do so. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Shan Long Saint was at a loss for words, as if there was a fishbone stuck in his throat. Saint Shan Long had indeed heard news about the dragons. There was a mysterious expert in the barren country, and it was rumored that he was related to the genius Jinlei Tensei. Shan Long was not confident that he could deal with him. As for the golden-winged great rocks, not to mention Shan Long Saint, even the entire dragons wouldn't be able to invade them. Among the group of golden-winged rocks, there was an absolutely terrifying expert, enough to kill him hundreds of times. Rumble, at this moment, in the vast cliff below, rumbling sounds could be heard again. Unceasing cracks began to appear, and in the bottomless abyss, there were fluctuations of energy and fog rolling over. At first, people thought that the trembling was the aftermath of the fierce battle between Du Xiaofu and Long Yi. Could it be that the inheritance of a supreme expert is about to appear? But soon, some experts were surprised to find that the trembling wasn't simple. There were no signs of it weakening, and it was getting stronger. Boom! That terrifying aura was like a monstrous beast awakening in the bottomless abyss, and a volcano was about to erupt. The aura made people's hearts palpitate for no reason. "Old Nine, you're here." Suddenly, a calm voice rang out from the bottomless chasm. However, when the last word was spoken, the calm voice was like thunder. It resounded through the air, accompanied by a shocking demonic aura that soared into the sky. In the void, Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing's expressions changed drastically. They looked at each other, and their expressions were extremely solemn. "This is the place. There's an evil spirit here that wants to escape. It should be the strongest demon emperor's primordial spirit that the divine ancestor mentioned." Dongli Qingqing frowned, and the Taiqing demon subduing bow in her hand shone brightly, dyeing the surroundings with a brilliant radiance. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu looked into the distance, and with a serious expression, he said softly, "The devil religion is also here." Boom! Before Du Xiaofu's voice fell, demonic aura surged in the void in front of them, and demonic clouds surged. It was as if dark clouds covered the sky, and the world suddenly became dark. Qi La, the demonic clouds covered the sky, and a huge demonic figure appeared in the void. His body was covered in demonic radiance, and his eyes were pitch black and deep, like black holes. The energy of heaven and earth in the surroundings became chaotic, and the souls of all living beings in the surroundings trembled. "It's really him, the Nine-Demon Emperor." Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled violently, and he was no longer unfamiliar with this familiar figure. It was the primordial spirit of the Nine-Demon Emperor, who had escaped from the heavenly Yu Mountain not long ago. At this moment, he had appeared in the myriad spirit burial realm. Rumble! The Nine-Demon Emperor appeared, and the demonic aura around him surged. He immediately attacked, and a huge claw swept out. 5 cracks seemed to have been torn in the void, and he tore at the bottomless abyss, as if he wanted to completely destroy it. He wants to help the other demon emperor's primordial spirit to be born. "We can't let him succeed." Dongli Qingqing shouted, and without any hesitation, she activated her supreme power, and a mysterious force surged out of her body. She did not hold back her undying and indestructible cultivation aura at all. The Taiqing demon subduing bow in her hand was drawn, and 3 energy light arrows were shot out in succession. Rumble! Wind and thunder rumbled, and purple electric arcs filled the void. Divine rings appeared in the sky, and it was as if the heavens had descended, and the gods and demons were singing. Swish! Before Dongli Qingqing made her move, Du Xiaofu activated the thunder martial vein on his azure spirit armor, and the boundless nirvana power. The purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand was activated along with the thunder martial vein and the boundless nirvana power. The tyrannical sword Dao slashed at the demonic claw. Tisk, tsk, tisk, the 3 clashed almost at the same time, and in that instant, the heavens fell and the earth cracked, and the demons howled in grief. The void seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and demonic aura swept across the sky, dispersing the void, and breaking the firmament. The 3 energy light arrows were shattered by the demonic aura, and the sword light was annihilated by the demonic aura. However, the demonic claw was also broken, and only a remnant wave of demonic aura was left. It struck the bottomless abyss, and the surrounding huge bone mountains were broken, and the cliffs revealed ravines. Keek, in the bottomless abyss, the demonic aura soared into the sky, and as the cliffs shook and cracked, a sinister laughter that made one tremble in fear could be heard. Pfff, Dongli Qingqing spat out a mouthful of dark red blood, and she was forced to retreat. She had exhausted all her strength twice, and her face was extremely pale. Chapter 2009. Thump, thump, Du Xiaofu was also knocked back. The space behind him cracked, and demonic energy filled the air. The light of the cyan spirit armor on his body dimmed significantly. Too strong. As he was knocked back, Du Xiaofu's expression became even more serious. Although the primordial spirit of the Nine-Demon Emperor had been severely injured by the heavenly wood divine tree, the strength he displayed now was not much weaker than when he was in the heavenly Yu mountain. And this was not his true strength. Once the primordial spirit of the Nine-Demon Emperor and his body merged into one, it would be the most terrifying time. Suddenly, before he could stabilize himself, Du Xiaofu's mind trembled. The purple lightning profound cauldron in the God Watchtower was attracted by an invisible force and began to rumble. It's not just the Nine-Demon Emperor, there's also Moksha. This kind of attraction was too familiar. Du Xiaofu immediately looked at the monstrous demonic energy. A three-legged cauldron surrounded by purple gold lightning arcs had appeared out of nowhere. A purple thundercloud appeared in the sky, and the terrifying might of thunder instantly filled the sky. Resplendent lightning arcs filled the air, and a heart-palpitating aura suddenly swept out, causing all the living beings present to feel an absolute sense of fear. Behind the Nine-Demon Emperor, a tall figure appeared, carrying the divine lightning cauldron. Wrapped in demonic energy, it was as if a demon lord had descended. It was Moksha. Divine lightning cauldron. Looking at the three-legged lightning cauldron, the eyes of all the living beings present immediately froze. Many of them had seen such a divine lightning cauldron with their own eyes. Boom! Following the appearance of the purple lightning profound cauldron, one of the purple lightning profound cauldrons in Du Xiaofu's God Watchtower suddenly buzzed, wanting to break out of his body. Little bastard, die! Abruptly, a cold voice filled with boundless killing intent rang out. Saint Shanglong suddenly acted. He didn't care about the arrival of the devil religion. Seeing Du Xiaofu being forced back, this was his best opportunity. To Shanglong Saint, killing Du Xiaofu was far more important than the arrival of the devil religion. The sudden arrival of this devil religion expert was simply a blessing from the heavens. Boom! Without any hesitation, Shanglong's half-saint qi burst out. His whole body glowed with dazzling light as if he was burning with divine fire. He moved like lightning and punched at Du Xiaofu. Roar! This punch contained the full power of Saint Shanglong. Wherever his body passed, a dragon roar shook the sky. The space before his fist cracked, and it contained endless pressure as it smashed toward Du Xiaofu. Shanglong Saint used his full strength and didn't hold back at all. He wanted to kill Du Xiaofu in one strike. Shanglong Saint did not underestimate Du Xiaofu. Not to mention that he had seen it with his own eyes, just the fact that Du Xiaofu could kill Long Yi was enough to make him not dare to be careless. Such a terrifying human, who had only cultivated for a few years, was already so terrifying. He definitely couldn't be allowed to continue growing. Such a human's growth speed was too terrifying. If he continued to grow, he would become a real threat to the dragons. There would be no end to the troubles in the future. The huge power of this punch caused everyone to be shocked by the appearance of the divine lightning cauldron. They also sucked in a breath of cold air for Du Xiaofu. Shanglong Saint is shameless. He actually launched a sneak attack. People from the Nong family and Mo family secretly cursed. With Shanglong Saint's age and cultivation, he was indeed shameless to launch a sneak attack at this moment. This is going to be troublesome. Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, and the others all paled when Shanglong Saint, who had a grudge with Du Xiaofu, suddenly launched a sneak attack against an expert from the devil religion. Rock Emperor, be careful. Mia Meng King, Thunderhawk King, Stone Turtle King, and the others all paled. However, Mia Meng King and the others did not intervene. They knew that in such a battle between experts, they did not even have the strength to be affected, let alone intervene. They would only be a burden if they went up. Everyone's expression changed. They were worried for Du Xiaofu. With the arrival of the 9 demon emperors from the devil religion, compared to Shang Long Saint, Du Xiaofu was more worried about the devil religion. Although he was blocking the 9 demon emperors, Du Xiaofu's attention did not shift away from Shang Long Saint. As I said, you are only a half-step saint. You are not qualified. Looking at Shang Long Saint, who was throwing a punch at him, Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with killing intent. He shook his arm, and from the center of his palm, a dazzling purple-gold electric arc shot out. Buzz, the electric arc filled the air. In just an instant, the purple-gold electric arc turned into a 3-legged lightning cauldron. The 9 demon emperors and Moksha had arrived, wanting to help the demon escape. Du Xiaofu did not want to waste any more time and summoned the purple lightning profound cauldron, which wanted to escape from the divine watchtower. Boom! When the purple lightning profound cauldron appeared, purple thunderclouds surged endlessly. The thunderclouds rolled in the vast sky, and the entire sky changed color. The purple thunderclouds were so dense that a large area of the void froze, blocking Shang Long Saint's figure. Divine Lightning Cauldron. With his figure blocked, Shang Long Saint's expression changed greatly. The surrounding void was filled with lightning, and the thunderclouds covered the sky. The entire sky seemed to have turned dark in an instant. A monstrous aura of destruction spread out from the purple thunderclouds, causing Shang Long Saint's dragon soul to tremble for no reason. Within the purple thunderclouds, purple lightning spread out, and the surrounding space cracked inch by inch along with the sizzling sound of electricity. Not good. The terrifying destructive might of the lightning caused Shang Long Saint's expression to change. A chill spread out from the bottom of his heart, and he felt that something was wrong. He immediately wanted to retreat. However, it was too late. The divine lightning cauldron spun, and the purple thundercloud surged. The killing intent in Du Xiaofu's eyes became even more intense. From the purple thunderclouds, arcs of lightning gathered to form purple thunderbolts that suddenly burst out. With a dazzling purple light, they poured down and densely surrounded Shang Long Saint. The purple thunderbolts, accompanied by an unparalleled destructive force, fell from the sky and struck down. Rumble, at the same time, Moksha controlled the other purple lightning cauldron. The resplendent thunderbolts that filled the sky also fell into the bottomless abyss. Wherever the thunderbolts passed, the space shattered inch by inch. In an instant, the 2 divine lightning cauldrons appeared. The destructive power of the thunderbolts made one's hair stand on end. Rumble, the earth-shattering purple thunderbolts fell, and the entire world was filled with sharp sonic booms. Roar! From between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows, a resplendent silver-gold arc of lightning shot out, transforming into a huge golden ape. Its sparkling and translucent body was wrapped in multicolored light and lightning. As the lightning and thunder roared around its body, its aura was like the beginning of the world, able to sweep through all directions and suppress everything as it pounced towards Mo Sha. Du Xiaofu activated his meridian soul red pheasant monkey's body and used all his strength to block Moksha's evil demon primordial spirit. Chapter 2010. Spiritual Lightning. The 9 demon emperors' gaze locked onto Du Xiaofu's crimson demonic monkey form. When he sensed the aura of multiple bolts of spiritual lightning, his enormous eyes surged with demonic energy. His eyes blazed with desire as he sent a claw forward to block the attack. The demonic claw tore through the air, sending demonic light into the heavens. It was as if numerous demonic stars were spinning within it. Crackle. Suddenly, a boundless, fiendish aura of darkness swirled through the air. Boundless, it surged forward like a tidal wave, strangely colliding with the demonic claw. Surprisingly, it was able to block the 9 demon emperors' roiling demonic energy. Noiselessly, an elegant man in long, lavender robes appeared. His long, flowing hair flowed down his back like flowing water. He was so handsome that all the women present couldn't help but stare at him. It's Jiangchen. Du Xiaoman and Du Yunlong were flabbergasted. They hadn't sensed how Jiangchen had disappeared. Jiangchen's defense had caused Du Xiaofu's crimson demonic monkey form to pause for a moment. Then, without hesitation, he pounced on Moksha. You can't stop me with just this. Moksha's eyes widened. He formed a hand seal, and dazzling, golden-purple lightning swept out from the divine lightning cauldron, blocking Du Xiaofu's crimson demonic monkey form. At the same time, it continued to bombard the bottomless abyss with golden-purple lightning. Golden-purple lightning was enough to annihilate all living things, but Du Xiaofu's crimson demonic monkey form was an exception. Du Xiaofu's bloodline spirit was formed from the mysterious blood essence of Du Xiaoyao's true body. His nascent soul had also been refined by golden-purple lightning, so it didn't fear golden-purple lightning at all. Dazzling arcs of lightning surged. Du Xiaofu's crimson demonic monkey form charged into the golden-purple lightning to block the divine lightning cauldron with all its might. Ha! At the same time, within the vast demonic aura, the 9 demon emperor's eyes rippled with astonishment as he stared intently at Jiangchen. The purple-robed man's aura was far too complex, and even he found it difficult to see through him. A wisp of primordial spirit. It's at the Saint Realm, and it doesn't seem to have recovered yet. Jiangchen also stared at the 9th demon emperor. His deep, dark eyes flashed with surprise, then surprise. His gaze rippled as if he were contemplating something. Those who block me shall die. His demonic chi surged, and a dazzling demonic light swept towards Jiangchen. You can't kill me. Jiangchen said. His voice was calm, but it was filled with arrogance. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand, and an endless amount of black murderous aura swirled around him. Immediately, it collided with the 9 demon emperors. Kill! The 9th demon emperor roared. Demonic energy covered the sky, causing the void to shatter. It was as if numerous demonic stars were falling from the sky as they shot towards Jiangchen. Not enough. Jiangchen growled. His hair stood on end, and his handsome face suddenly looked somewhat sinister. Black murderous aura transformed into a giant fist, terrifying to the extreme. It smashed apart the demonic stars one by one. Arrogant brat, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The 9th demon emperor's cold voice rang out. Demonic energy, accompanied by saintly might, solidified the void and transformed into a demonic void sword. It slashed towards Jiangchen, shattering the void. Roar! A thunderous roar came from Jiangchen's mouth. His body glowed with light, and in an instant, he transformed into a 100-meter-long beast. Golden fur covered his entire body, and his eyes were as red as cinnabar. His entire body was covered in scales, and his claws were like curved hooks. His teeth were like sharp blades, and his cold light was terrifying. The stench of blood filled the air. Rip! The beast waved its claws, tearing the void apart. Black murderous aura filled the sky, and terrifying red smoke burned the void. It directly shattered the demonic void sword. This kind of confrontation was shocking. Golden Hair Howl. When such a vicious beast appeared in the sky, everyone was shocked. Some of the elders couldn't help but cry out in alarm. Jiangchen has the body of a zombie. Mo Ruzhen was astonished. He was such a handsome man, the most beautiful man in the world. She didn't expect him to be such a ferocious and terrifying zombie. He's no ordinary zombie, he's already a golden hair howl. The beautiful woman next to Mo Ruzhen couldn't help but look astonished. She said, zombies are divided into flesh zombies, waking zombies, walking zombies, purple zombies, white zombies, green zombies, hairy zombies, and flying zombies. Jiangchen has already become a golden hair howl. Rumor has it that a golden hair howl can kill dragons and swallow clouds. Everywhere it goes, it's 1,000 li of land turned red. It really lives up to its reputation. Golden hair howl. Mo Ruzhen's eyes trembled. She had heard of the legends of the Golden Hair Howl, but to the Mo clan, one of the 9 great clans, the Golden Hair Howl was nothing more than a legend. She hadn't thought that a Golden Hair Howl would appear in front of her. Its terrifying strength made her tremble inwardly. I understand now. When Dragon 1 retreated, it wasn't because he was afraid of the Mo clan or the Farmers clan. It was because of Jiangchen. Although Jiangchen didn't make a move, Dragon 1 felt fear. The beautiful woman suddenly smiled bitterly. She was completely sure why Dragon 1 had retreated not long ago. She had originally thought that Dragon 1 was afraid of her and the Farmers clan elder and didn't want both sides to suffer. Later, when she saw the strength of the 5 dragon guards and Dragon 1, she had her suspicions. At this moment, the beautiful woman finally understood that Long Yi had been afraid of this mysterious Jiangchen, and definitely not of her or that village elder. Rumble. Roar. In an instant, Jiangchen and the 9 demon emperors fiercely fought. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit and the body of a crimson monkey exploded in the midst of the purple-gold profound lightning. The sky cracked and the earth cracked. Demonic chi and lightning intertwined. It was as if the world was about to collapse. It was as if doomsday had arrived. At this moment, Shan Long Saint appeared particularly miserable. Roar. Amidst the purple-gold profound lightning that filled the sky, Shan Long Saint had no choice but to be blasted out of his body. His huge dragon body stretched across the sky, but he couldn't escape the purple-gold profound lightning cauldron that continued to expand. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation and dense killing intent, the purple-gold profound lightning cauldron's power was terrifying. The sudden arrival of the devil religion and the voice and demonic chi from the bottomless abyss allowed Du Xiaofu to confirm that this was the place the heavenly wood divine tree had said was suppressing the primordial spirit of a powerful demon emperor. In order to prevent that demon from escaping, Du Xiaofu activated the purple-gold profound lightning cauldron. He planned to use the purple-gold profound lightning cauldron to quickly deal with the half-saint dragons. Rumble. Thunder rumbled as purple-gold profound lightning covered the sky. Arcs of lightning dazzled the world. The sky rumbled as purple-gold profound lightning crashed down. It was as if heavenly lightning had descended, dyeing the world into a sea of lightning that spewed out divine light. Under such terrifying destructive lightning, the sky was about to be overturned and everything was destroyed. Roar. Roar. The miserable Shan Long Saint had long since stepped into the half-saint realm. He was one of the few experts in the world, but at this moment, he was howling endlessly under the purple-gold profound lightning cauldron. Chapter 2011. Ka, the dragon scales on Shan Long Saint's body dimmed and cracked. His flesh was exposed, and dragon blood splattered everywhere. His body seemed to be crumbling inch by inch. Shan Long Saint used all his strength and activated the secret arts of the dragons. He also activated several treasures that were not inferior to the coiling dragon war god armor and the heavenly dragon cover. However, he was still unable to withstand the violent lightning. Puchi, Shan Long Saint spat out a mouthful of blood. The dragon blood in his mouth was like a torrential rain. Under the bombardment of the lightning, his flesh was lacerated and his bones were exposed. It was a tragic sight. A dignified sage-to-be expert was being ravaged like a dying snake at this moment. Shan Long Saint saw Du Xiaofu being killed and knew that Du Xiaofu had the spiritual lightning and the divine lightning cauldron. However, he did not think that this human in front of him truly had the ability to contend against him. This confidence came from his pride in his bloodline of the dragons. It also came from his disdain for being a half-saint. Even if he could not kill this human, he did not believe that this human could do anything to him. However, the pitiful Shan Long Saint did not think that his rage would affect his judgment. Perhaps if Saint Shan Long calmed down and faced Du Xiaofu's sword, he would understand that he wouldn't be able to gain the upper hand with his half-saint cultivation. Long Yi had the true dragon blood essence and the true dragon saint slaying blade. He was at the pinnacle of the undying and indestructible realm and a nirvana realm expert. With such cultivation and strength, he could only protect himself. However, Long Yi was already killed. How could Shang Long Saint gain the upper hand, let alone kill Du Xiaofu? However, Shang Long Saint was not completely blinded by rage. He thought that even if he could not kill Du Xiaofu, he still had the ability to protect himself. Shang Long Saint had been a half-saint for a long time. In this world, even a true saint expert would have to put in a lot of effort to stop him. Below the saint realm, if Shang Long wanted to leave, who would be able to stop him? However, Shang Long Saint was too unlucky. Du Xiaofu directly used the purple lightning profound cauldron, making it impossible for him to escape even if he wanted to. Otherwise, even if Du Xiaofu tried his best, it would be impossible for him to stop Shang Long Saint from leaving. Aoo. The Shang Long Saint shook his head and waved his tail, shattering the void. He was burning his own dragon blood, using his own body as the price. He had chosen his own path of destruction, but he still couldn't break free from the purple lightning profound cauldron's restraint. The dragon scales on his body were constantly shattered, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Even his saint aura couldn't withstand the destructive lightning strikes. You can't trap me, you can't trap me, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky above the battlefield. Amidst the violent shaking and cracking of the bottomless cliff, sinister laughter accompanied by monstrous devil chi was about to overturn the bottomless abyss. Walala, within the bottomless abyss, resplendent electric arcs rippled. They carried an extremely hot aura as they silently spread through the void. But if one looked closely, one would realize that the bright electric arcs were actually a very special kind of flame. The flame was burning, and there were traces of a vacuum in the surrounding void. It seemed ordinary, but the stronger one was, the more terrifying the mysterious and bright flame was. The mysterious flame had unknowingly spread throughout the bottomless abyss. It was burning and boiling, illuminating the void, revealing a vast world above it. Ancient lands, broken boulders, huge pits, broken valleys, broken peaks, and huge skeletons lying across the land, buzz, in the scene that was illuminated by the void, there were many sabers, spears, swords, and halberds shuttling through the void, making the sound of wind and thunder. Oh my God, that's an ancient battlefield with many treasures left behind. Seeing this strange scene, some living beings exclaimed. They had come here and waited for so long in the myriad spirit burial domain to find treasures and obtain the legendary inheritance left behind by the Almighty. This ancient battlefield has been sealed. I don't know where it is. The beautiful woman leading the Mo clan muttered. Has the divine thunder cauldron appeared? The strange scene floated in the air, and such a voice came from an unknown place. It resounded in the void, and the voice was as melodious as an ancient bell. Rumble, as the melodious voice fell, flames began to surge out from the cracks in the huge rock walls of the bottomless abyss like electric arcs. The entire bottomless abyss suddenly became bright, and there was a kind of scarlet blue light wrapped around it. It was like a volcano overflowing with lava, covering the entire bottomless abyss. The mysterious runes on the talismans fluctuated, bringing with them an ancient power. This kind of power was silent, and there were not many fluctuations. However, in the silence, the living beings present felt their spiritual artifacts and Tao artifacts burning for no reason, as if they were about to fuse with their bodies. Their bodies also felt like they were about to spontaneously combust, and there was a terrifying temperature quietly rising in their bodies. This strange temperature was even stranger than the devil chi corroding the soul. Be careful. An old man felt this terrifying temperature, and his face immediately changed in shock. He shouted loudly, reminding the disciples beside him to be careful. Rumble. Inside Mo Shah's divine thunder cauldron, purple gold profound lightning that blotted out the sky and covered the earth poured into the bottomless abyss at the same time. The purple lightning crashed into the strange scarlet blue electric flames, corroding and destroying the resplendent talisman runes. Roar. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit Crimson Horse Monkey's body resisted with all its strength. It erupted with resplendent lightning, turning into the huge lightning turtle and lightning tree, but it could not stop all the purple gold profound lightning from pouring into the bottomless abyss. Boom! Dongli Qingqing made her move, and a dazzling green light burst out. The mysterious aura on her body was raised to the extreme, and she continued to resist the purple gold profound lightning with Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit Crimson Horse Monkey's body. However, the effect was not great. Kiki, you can't trap me anymore. The sinister voice continued to ring out, and devil chi poured out from the scarlet blue flames. The entire world was rumbling, and the mountains were shaking. Kill! This scene made Du Xiaofu frown, and his expression was extremely solemn. He used all his strength, and wanted to kill Shan Long Saint as quickly as possible. The item that was suppressing the Devil Emperor's primordial spirit under the cliff seemed to be able to be destroyed by the purple thunder cauldron. He had to stop Moksha. Rumble, resplendent and destructive purple lightning burst out from the purple thunder cauldron. This lightning energy was like a dazzling purple gold firework, bursting into the sky. Pfft! Shan Long Saint spat out another mouthful of blood. His huge dragon body dimmed, and he was dripping with blood. His skin and flesh were torn open, and it was a tragic sight. Little bastard, I will not let you go. You will pay the price. Chapter 2012. Shan Long Saint was already in a desperate situation. He could already feel the aura of death as fear spread out from the depths of his dragon soul. This fear quickly turned into a monstrous hatred in Shan Long Saint's heart. An even more resplendent light surged out from his bloody dragon body. In an instant, Shan Long Saint's aura, which was already on the verge of being annihilated, suddenly rose again at a terrifying speed. The power on his dragon body surged, making him look even more ferocious and terrifying. Not good, Shan Long Saint is going to self-destruct. Such words came out from the mouths of many creatures in the sky at the same time. Oh no, this is not good. The expressions of the old experts of the Mo family in the farmer's village changed drastically. The self-detonation of the Shan Long Saint, who was at the half-step saint realm, at the cost of his own life, was far more powerful than when he was at his peak. He was going all out against Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu also narrowed his eyes at this moment. He had long been on guard against Shan Long Saint's self-destruction in the end. Therefore, Du Xiaofu wanted to use the full power of the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron to kill Shan Long Saint at lightning speed. However, the result surprised Du Xiaofu. Shan Long Saint was not weaker than the Earth Demon Envoy. Shan Long Saint was an old dragon who had cultivated for many years. He had many secret techniques of dragons and was a descendant of the true dragon. He was actually able to resist the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron for a long time. If not for the fact that his strength had improved a lot recently, Du Xiaofu felt that the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron would not be able to keep Shan Long Saint here. Suppress, facing Shan Long Saint's self-destruction, Du Xiaofu had no choice but to use the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron to suppress him. This was also the worst-case scenario that Du Xiaofu had already predicted. Since he had already made his move, he had to get rid of this old dragon today no matter what. Otherwise, it would take a lot of effort to get rid of this old dragon after the Sage Realm experts set foot on the Heavenly Devil battlefield. Inside the Purple Lightning Profound Cauldron, mysterious lightning runes shone brightly and rumbled non-stop. A waterfall of purple gold profound lightning shot towards Shan Long Saint with great destructive power. Little bastard, do you think you can still suppress this saint? Let's die together, ha ha ha. Saint Shan Long's laughter was monstrous. In an instant, his chi and dragon aura were even more intense than when he was at his peak. It was as if he had already reached the saint realm. He resisted the full power of the Purple Lightning Profound Cauldron and laughed wildly. I have already lived for so long, but a little bastard like you has no hope. Today, I will bury you with me. I will solve the problem of the dragons. When these words were spoken, Shan Long Saint's aura also swelled to the peak. The light was bright, and the dragon's might surged. Under everyone's trembling gazes, the light was so bright that it engulfed the huge dragon's body. Amidst the purple gold lightning that filled the sky, it rose like a sun and finally exploded. The sound of heavenly thunder reverberated in the sky, covering the sound of thunder. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled, and energy surged, tearing the sky apart. Terrifying, terrifying. The monstrous energy and purple gold lightning were like thousands of divine chains that swept in all directions, piercing through the sky and causing the universe to riot. Boom! The entire ancient world was in chaos, revealing a vacuum. Chaotic energy surged in the vacuum, creating a terrifying scene. Then the world became blurry, and nothing could be seen. Not far away, Moksha, Dongli Qingqing, and the Redbone Horse Monkey were fighting, as well as the battle between Jiangchen and the 9 Demon Emperor's primordial spirits were affected. Bang, 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 bang. Below them, the cliffs, the earth, and the mountains all exploded with rumbling sounds. The creatures in the distance were affected and coughed up blood. It's too terrifying. It's like the destruction of heaven and earth. The self-detonation of those dragons half-sage experts probably wouldn't dare to be careless. Will the Demon King and Du Shaofa be able to withstand it? Those dragons half-sage are willing to sacrifice their own lives to drag the Demon King and Du Shaofu down with them. How ruthless! In the chaotic sky, all living beings trembled. Some of them were anxious, some of them looked grave, and most of them were dumbfounded. The explosion caused Moksha and the 9 Demon Emperor's primordial spirits to secretly spy on the chaotic space. Dongli Qingqing was wrapped in green light, and her pale, delicate face was extremely solemn. Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, and Mia Meng King all clenched their fists, anxiously looking up at the sky. After a good while, everyone could see everything clearly in the sky. There was a divine lightning cauldron rotating, and its radiance was somewhat dim. The resplendent purple gold lightning around the divine lightning cauldron had also quietly disappeared in the explosion, leaving only a dense purple thundercloud under the divine lightning cauldron. Not good. The Demon King and Du Shaofu wouldn't have met with a calamity, right? Someone cried out in alarm. The divine lightning cauldron had dimmed, and there was no trace of the Demon King and Du Shaofu. The self-detonation of the dragon's half-sage expert had probably dragged the Demon King and Du Shaofu down with him, no matter how strong he was. The thundercloud dissipated, revealing a faint golden radiance. It was as if something was expanding, sweeping away the purple thundercloud. He's not dead. The Demon King and Du Shaofu aren't dead. Suddenly, everyone's gaze trembled as if they had been electrocuted. Under everyone's gaze, a pair of golden wings wrapped in a cocoon slowly unfolded within the purple thundercloud. However, at this moment, the golden wings were dim, and the feathers were broken. Only 36 of the most dazzling golden feathers were still suffused with a faint radiance. Within the golden wings, Du Shaofu's golden armor figure was revealed, but at this moment, the feathers were broken, the radiance was dim, and his hair was messy. PFFF, the moment the Depeng's golden wings were completely unfolded, Du Shaofu couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of golden blood. The cyan spirit armor on his body was withdrawn in an instant, and his purple robe was tattered. His flesh was broken, and fresh blood was flowing out from the inside out. The aura on his body was almost in disorder. Swish! His figure fell down the cliff like a bird, accompanied by the sprinkling of fresh blood. However, at the last moment of landing, Du Shaofu grasped the purple gold heavenly fault in his hand tightly and stabbed it into the cliff. Du Shaofu knelt on one knee, exhausted. The purple gold heavenly fault sank into the ground, and large cracks spread out in all directions. Keep, Du Shaofu fell and immediately kept the purple thunder profound cauldron into his body. Moksha was controlling the other purple thunder profound cauldron, and he couldn't let anything happen to it. Drip, 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 blood dripped from his mouth and body. Du Xiaofu was extremely weak at this moment, and his face was frighteningly pale. Shanlong Saint's self-destruction was too strong. The power of his self-destruction was the terrifying power of a true saint. It impacted the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron, but in the end, that terrifying power also impacted Du Xiaofu's body. Chapter 2013. Du Xiaofu's mind was connected to the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron. Although the Shanlong Saint had self-destructed in the cauldron, the impact of the explosion had also affected Du Xiaofu. This kind of impact was even more intense than the external impact. Not only did it cause the Great Peng Golden Wings, the Blue Spirit Armor, the indestructible Xian body, and the golden-winged Great Peng race's body transformation technique to the true Peng realm to be unable to display their strongest defensive abilities, it also caused Du Xiaofu's mind to be impacted. Fortunately, the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron had resisted a great deal of the power. Although Du Xiaofu's defenses and his powerful physical body were unable to display the strongest defensive effect, they were still the strongest cornerstone. Although he had resisted the attack, he had paid an extremely heavy price. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's injuries were too severe. He had almost no battle power left. Boom! At the same time, the bottomless abyss rumbled endlessly. The vast cliff had completely exploded. Giant rocks covered in crimson-blue flames rushed out. Heaven fell and earth cracked. It was as if a demon was wailing. The sky was collapsing. The bottomless abyss was collapsing. Demonic energy in crimson-blue flames intertwined, shaking violently. This was a scene of heaven and earth collapsing. Rubble and dust swept up into the sky. This scene was very terrifying. Everything in sight was destroyed. The impact was many times more ferocious than when the Shanlong Saint had self-destructed. Large swaths of the void turned into chaos. It was impossible to see through. Everywhere was black. Heaven and earth were cracking. It was very frightening and shocking. Retreat, quickly. Even though the living beings in the surrounding area had already retreated far enough, the elders' expressions still changed drastically in the face of this terrifying shockwave, and they immediately retreated with the disciples beside them. Moksha, Dongli Qingqing, the 9 demon emperor's primordial spirit, and Jiangchen who were fighting fiercely were also violently impacted. They had no choice but to retreat. Not good. Du Xiaofu looked up. The primordial spirit's crimson monkey body in the air shone brightly. It turned into a silver-gold arc of lightning and instantly returned to the mud-pill palace between his eyebrows. Its withered aura recovered by a lot. The golden rock wings on its back, Du Xiaofu rapidly retreated. Walala, at the bottom of the bottomless abyss, the ancient land reflected in the sky. Shattered boulders, huge pits, broken valleys, broken mountains, and huge skeletons that stretched across the land gradually became clearer. Buzz buzz, in the void, there were many sabers, spears, swords, and halberds shuttling through the void, making the sound of wind and thunder. Buzz. Sensing the saber, spear, sword, and halberd that pierced through the void, the purple-gold heavenly tower let out a rumbling sound. Light shone brightly, as if it was boiling. If Du Xiaofu had not forcefully suppressed it, it would have long since left his hands and been devoured. Keek keek, a sinister and wild laughter reverberated endlessly across the ancient land. Demonic chi permeated the void, and in an instant, the world seemed to darken. A ball of enormous black shadow floated into appearance in midair. It was like a black sun that was boundlessly grand, and it was suffused with a type of soul-stealing devilish chi. Within the demonic chi, a black figure stood tall with a terrifying aura. The black figure's black eyes were like 2 black holes in the void. The black holes were filled with killing intent, and the scene of blood flowing, corpses strewn across the land, and all living beings wailing in agony appeared. It was extremely terrifying. The black figure stood tall in midair, and the black hole-like eyes stared at Du Xiaofu. Being stared at by the black hole-like eyes, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, the red pheasant monkey, in his mind, trembled. It was as if his spiritual soul was about to be sucked into the boundless black hole and be buried in it. Great demon, you were suppressed in the previous battle. If you want to stir up trouble again, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape the fate of the 5 elements demon emperor. The melodious sound of an ancient bell rang out, and the melodious sound carried a type of ancient destructive intent as it resounded through the void. When the sound rang out, Du Xiaofu's body quivered. He immediately recovered from the influence that he had just suffered. He could not help but shudder. He was afraid that he had almost been killed. He, Huolei Zi, do you think that dragon and the master of the 3,000 great worlds can still come in? This time, no one can stop us. The black shadow sneered. As he spoke, a black pillar of light immediately swept out. It was accompanied by the wails of countless living beings. It seemed to carry all the hatred and murderous aura in the world as it fell towards Du Xiaofu. Rumble. The spiritual thunder exploded, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The light shuttled through the dark void. At the same time, the purple-golden heavenly palace in Du Xiaofu's hand burst out. He gritted his teeth and slashed at the black beam of light. So, it's you. You seem to be very weak. These words came out from the mouth of the black figure. The murderous intent in his eyes was sharp and fierce. The rolling jet-black light pillar seemed to have come from the demonic domain, destroying Du Xiaofu's spiritual thunder and obliterating the sword light. Du Xiaofu spat out a mouthful of blood. His physical body was cracking, and his divine soul was trembling. Under the terrifying demonic qi, Du Xiaofu's divine soul was about to collapse. If it were not for the spiritual thunder, spiritual root, and the mysterious incomplete cultivation method in his body, his divine soul would have been destroyed in an instant. You don't have the right to be arrogant. An ancient and melodious voice rang out. At this moment, the space around Du Xiaofu suddenly changed. Suddenly, the mysterious crimson-blue flames descended. Heaven and earth resonated with it. An ancient will of desolation and destruction filled the air. In the mysterious crimson-blue flame, the mighty and turbulent power stirred up stormy waves and swept directly toward the black beam of light. Chi-la-la, under the crimson-blue flame, it contained the power to destroy all living beings. It seemed to be accompanied by a faint sound of thunder. Under this terrifying power, the black beam of light collapsed inch by inch until it reached the black figure like the black sun. The black figure standing in the void let out a muffled groan. Fire lightning seed, let's wait and see. The voice was sinister and somewhat unwilling, but then the huge black figure turned into a black fog and disappeared in the void. Let's go. Moksha looked at Du Xiaofu from afar and left with the purple thunder profound cauldron and the 9 demon emperors' primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu spat out the last mouthful of blood. His vision turned black, and he could no longer support himself. He fell to the ground, and the golden rock wings on his back retracted. Whine! The purple-gold heavenly tower roared, but it did not sweep toward the circling sabers, spears, swords, and halberds. Instead, it circled around Du Xiaofu as if it was protecting him. What a strange kid. Thunder Martial Vein, Divine Thunder Cauldron, is it you? A melodious voice like an ancient bell sounded. From the void, crimson-blue flames seeped out and lingered toward Du Xiaofu. Sizzle, suddenly, the purple-gold heavenly tower was destroyed. From the sword body, a majestic energy swept out and turned into a dazzling sword radiance, slashing toward the crimson-blue flames. Within the crimson-blue flames, a cry of surprise was heard. Chapter 2014. Translator, H2DH2 Mr. However, at the same time, a brilliant scarlet-blue flame erupted and destroyed the sword light. Then, it enveloped the heavenly palace of purple gold and Du Xiaofu. In a short instant, Du Xiaofu and the heavenly palace of purple gold disappeared at the same time. Everything happened too quickly, so quickly that Dongli Qingqing, Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, and the others could not react or stop it. The primordial spirit of the nine-demon emperor, that terrifying demonic figure, and Moksha all left. Du Xiaofu and the heavenly palace of purple gold also disappeared. This ancient heaven and earth fell into a strange silence. Buzz buzz, the sabers, spears, swords, and halberds that pierced through the void exploded with light. They sounded like wind and thunder in the void. Then, they also left in all directions. They're all treasures. Seize the treasures. Some living beings came back to their senses and looked at the sabers, spears, swords, and halberds that pierced through the void. Their eyes immediately blazed. Those were all precious treasures. In an instant, the eyes of all the living beings present surged with a scarlet-red color. One figure after another immediately pounced out with a fiery passion. On this ancient battlefield, there was an irresistible temptation. There were treasures everywhere. One figure after another rushed to the ancient battlefield, afraid that they would fall behind others. These bones are mine. Who dares to snatch them? A giant beast that looked like a bear and a wolf, its aura surging. It stared at a huge beast skeleton and felt that the huge beast skeleton contained a huge amount of energy. That was the secret of the bones. As long as the bones were not destroyed, they would obtain endless fortunes. Evil creature. The figure of a skinny old man appeared. A 2-finger-wide narrow sword erupted with a brilliant light. Like a spirit snake coming out of its hole, it pierced through the void and pierced toward the giant beast. He wanted to seize the huge beast skeleton. Screech, suddenly, dark clouds appeared in the sky. Cries pierced through the clouds and there was a bright scarlet flame. A giant red eagle that looked like it was bathed in a sea of fire reached out with its sharp claws and grabbed at a dazzling spear that was about to disappear into the void. Old flame bird, this treasure is not suitable for you. At the same time, a giant black ape appeared. It reached out with one hand and directly grabbed that dazzling spear. Damn monkey, you're courting death. The giant eagle's gaze suddenly became sharp, and a cold light gushed out. As it flapped its wings, the monstrous flames turned into stormy waves that engulfed the giant black ape. Bang 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 bang, all of a sudden, the creatures began to fight, and a great battle broke out. Buzz. In the void, there was a bell the size of a palm. It emitted a sonorous light, and the sound waves were like a tangible waterfall, directly shattering the figures of several creatures that were pouncing towards it. Not good, this bell is too scary. There were also creatures that rushed over who sucked in a cold breath of air, all of them retreating. This bell was actually this terrifying. A graceful figure appeared near the bell. Her skin was as white as snow, and the starlight in her eyes fluctuated. Her elegant and noble temperament made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. No one dared to make a move against her. The leader of the farmers' clan's younger generation, the Nirvana paragon Zhou Xiaoluo, was not someone that anyone dared to provoke. It's a saint artifact. A slightly surprised voice sounded out. A woman with slender legs and a curvaceous figure wearing tight clothes appeared not far away. She looked at the dazzling bell, and her eyes fluctuated. The saint artifact has a spirit, and the fated one will get it. How about it? The woman in tight clothes smiled at Zhou Xiaoluo. Her fiery figure carried a valiant beauty, and her entire person revealed a kind of wild beauty. Then let's do as Miss Mo says, the fated one will get it. Zhou Xiaoluo smiled, her voice was soft, and her beautiful eyes shone. As her voice fell, a faint yellow light gushed out from her body, like a ray of auspicious light, and she walked towards the bell. Seeing this, Mo Runan formed a hand seal, and a great force suddenly surrounded her curvaceous figure. She twisted the void with one hand and pressed towards the bell. Buzz. The bell vibrated, and in a flash, a dazzling talisman exploded, and in a flash, it transformed into an ancient bell that was 100 zhang long. The 100 zhang long bell's light illuminated the void, and there were mysterious images of the sun, the moon, and the stars densely covering the void. A terrifying force caused the sky to shake, and it condensed into a substantial energy wave that twisted the void. A terrifying chi swept across the void, and it pressed towards Mo Runen. Mo Runen's beautiful face changed drastically, she formed a hand seal and immediately shot out a palm. That palm was also terrifying, and there were dazzling talismans rushing out, as if it controlled the entire space. It collided with the energy of the bell, causing the void to tremble. Please follow the farmer's clan's younger generation home. Those words came out of Zhou Xiaoluo's mouth, and her voice was like the sound of nature. She did not attack, and she directly walked towards the terrifying bell. Buzz buzz. Buzz. The bell rumbled, and its sound was sorrowful and filled with vicissitudes of life, causing the hearts of those who heard it to be filled with sorrow. Soon after, it descended from the void and landed on the ground, and sat on top of a pile of bones. It then revolved around a skeleton, and its sound was like a mournful wail. On top of the pile of bones, there was a pure white skeleton, and it did not dissipate even after tens of thousands of years. It sat cross-legged, and there were still fragments of a tattered robe on its body. On the left side of its chest, there was a palm-sized hole, as if it had been pierced by someone when it was still alive. The farmer's clan's younger generation has come to welcome the remains of our ancestor. Zhou Xiaoluo's beautiful figure landed on the ground, and she respectfully knelt in front of the skeleton. Her beautiful face was solemn and respectful. The farmer's clan's younger generation has come to welcome the remains of our ancestor. In the farmer's house, the old man in the lead landed in front of the skeleton and looked at it. Lightning flashed in his eyes and he knelt respectfully on the ground. Behind the old man, there were many strong cultivators and disciples of the farmer's clan who were kneeling on the ground, and their expressions were solemn and respectful. Buzz buzz. The huge bell rang, and it turned into the size of a palm again, and circled around Zhou Xiaoluo. Mo Runen looked at the scene in front of her, and her face was filled with astonishment. That is the ancestor of the farmer's clan who died in the heavenly devil battlefield. In that battle, countless ancestors were killed, and they used their lives to stop that calamity. The leading beautiful woman from the Mo family stood behind Mo Runen, and her eyes were filled with emotions. Hearing this, Mo Runen landed on the ground, bowed to the skeleton from afar, and then flew away. Bang! 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 On this ancient battlefield, talismans and mysterious runes shone brightly, and various battles caused the void to rumble and distort. The energy was boiling, and it was as if flames were burning. There were people who constantly spat out blood, and beasts fell from the sky. Such a battle lasted for a full day before it completely ended. However, the dust had not completely settled, and many people who had obtained treasures were surrounded. Among them, the Mo family, the farmer's clan, and the desolate country had obtained most of the treasures, but no one dared to surround them. The ancient mountain peak was filled with mottled traces of the ancient battle. It should be related to that flame. That is the flame that suppressed that evil demon. It is highly possible that he took him away. Chapter 2015. Said Jiangchen. His handsome face and deep eyes made it difficult to imagine the connection between him and the golden growler. Will third brother be in danger? We must find him. Du Xiaoman was worried, her brows furrowed. They had already searched many places, but had found nothing. The senior who suppressed the demon should have no ill intentions toward Xiaofu. But we must find him. His injuries are very serious. Dong Li Qingqing said. Her pale face had regained some color. The Fong family's cultivation method was extraordinary in terms of recovery. Let's split up and search the battlefield, said Zhou Xiaoluo. The people from the School of Agriculture were also with the Huang country at the moment. Don't worry. That guy is very lucky. He'll be fine. Mo Runan stood beside Du Xiaoman. One was wild and valiant, while the other was hot and alluring. Many young people couldn't help but take a second look at them. When Du Xiaofu regained consciousness, his entire body was in pain and his head was still a little dizzy. But he immediately leapt to his feet. Hum! The heavenly palace of purple and gold vibrated as it circled in front of Du Xiaofu. Looking at the heavenly palace of purple and gold, Du Xiaofu's heart calmed down a little. He looked around. This was an ancient cave. It was not small. Stalactites of various shapes hung from the ceiling, strangely suffused with a red and blue arc of electricity. Under the senses of the red pheasant monkey's primordial spirit, Du Xiaofu could sense that the entire cave was filled with a fiery aura of destruction. This aura seemed to be similar to the spiritual lightning on his body, but it was not the aura of spiritual lightning. Du Xiaofu was on guard. He remembered that before he fainted, he seemed to have been saved by a ball of red and blue fire. That aura was very similar to the one in the cave. "Kid, you're awake." Suddenly, a voice rang out from within the quiet cave. The voice did not seem to be very old, but it contained an ancient aura that seemed to come from ancient times. Who is it? Du Xiaofu's consciousness instantly probed. This person approached him silently, and he actually did not sense anything at all. He held the purple gold heavenly fault in his hand. "Don't be so nervous, kid. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done so long ago. Why now?" As the voice rang out, under Du Xiaofu's astonished gaze, a cluster of palm-sized flames appeared on a rock not far away. This cluster of palm-sized flame was scarlet blue and crystal clear. It was extremely resplendent and appeared to be slowly rising. It squirmed out from the rock like a cluster of scarlet blue gemstones. Traces of scarlet blue magma-like flame ripples revolved around it and continuously flowed. The appearance of such a cluster of flames gave off an extremely strange feeling. Upon closer inspection, it was accompanied by red and blue electric arcs. What shocked Du Xiaofu even more was that when this cluster of crystal-clear flames appeared, the temperature of the entire cave suddenly rose to an extremely terrifying level. This aura was ancient and destructive, causing the void to distort. At some point in time, arcs of electricity had already begun to shuttle through the walls and ceiling of the cave. Buzz buzz. When the scarlet blue flames appeared, the purple gold heavenly fault also rumbled and erupted with sword light. "It's that flame." Du Xiaofu's eyes were fixed on the scarlet blue flames. Back then, the Almighty who had suppressed the strongest demon emperor's soul seemed to have something to do with this scarlet blue flame. Just as Du Xiaofu was pondering, ripples like electric arcs appeared in the sparkling scarlet blue flames. Space distorted, and then a human figure slowly walked out, appearing in front of Du Xiaofu's astonished gaze. This figure had a face that seemed to be over 50 years old. His round face did not show any signs of age. Instead, it seemed extremely radiant. The old man had long scarlet-red hair and wore a loose blue robe. His abdomen bulged so much that the robe was almost torn apart. He was like a Maitreya Buddha. Not a bad sword. The embryo of a divine weapon is both good and evil. This is the first time I've seen it. When the old man appeared, his gaze landed on Du Xiaofu's purple gold heavenly fault. His eyes were deep, and the more one looked at them, the more ancient they felt. "Senior," Du Xiaofu suppressed the trembling purple gold heavenly fault in his hand and looked at the old man as he spoke. "What senior? You're just an old fart. It would be fine if you were really dead, but you're not dead and have encountered this great calamity." The old man interrupted Du Xiaofu. He looked at Du Xiaofu with his deep, ancient eyes, as if he could see through Du Xiaofu with a single glance. His round face seemed to always have a smile as he said, "Lightning veins, multiple types of spiritual lightning. The strangest thing is that you cultivate the cultivation method of the golden-winged rocks. You're clearly a human, but even your blood and bones are similar to those of the rocks. Strange, truly strange. The old man's voice was ancient and melodious. He had a chubby figure, a round face, and slightly curved eyebrows. He looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "Back then, the people of this world called me Master Huolei Laozu. Since you have lightning veins, there's no mistaking it. I am Huolei Laozu. Master Huolei Laozu. Could it be that you are the senior who suppressed the Devil King's origin soul?" Du Xiaofu's heart fiercely trembled. When the Devil King's origin soul escaped, he mentioned the name Master Huolei Laozu. This old man called himself Master Huolei Laozu, so he was the expert who suppressed the strongest Devil King's origin soul. At this moment, how could Du Xiaofu not be shaken? According to the heavenly wood divine tree, the one who suppressed the strongest Devil King was an almighty expert. What was an almighty expert? Back in the ancient times, only the most famous experts who could dominate the 100 schools contend were qualified to be called almighty. Ordinary peak experts weren't qualified to be called almighty. Master Huolei Laozu glanced at Du Xiaofu and said, "I already said that I'm not a senior. This saint is your ancestor. Brat, are you still not going to greet me?" "This brat will greet you." Hearing that, Du Xiaofu put away the violet gold heavenly tower. Seeing that Master Huolei Laozu was actually someone from his ancestor's generation, he immediately became excited. But just as he was about to greet him, Du Xiaofu's eyes turned slightly. A hint of suspicion appeared in his eyes, and he immediately stopped. "Senior. Are you from the Du family?" Du Xiaofu looked at this person who called himself his ancestor. This old man's figure was illusory, and his aura was the same as the mysterious crimson-blue flame. He was clearly not human. This made Du Xiaofu suspicious. Although he was excited, it didn't affect his judgment. "Although I'm not from the Du family, I have some relationship with the Du family, especially with your ancestor. So naturally, I'm your ancestor." Master Huolei impatiently glared at Du Xiaofu. Chapter 2016. Du Xiaofu looked at Huolei. Was the Du family really that strong back then? If the Du family was really that strong, then they would be at least as strong as the 9 families now. They wouldn't be like back in Stone City, where they couldn't even compare to a 9th-rate force. "Senior, if you really are an elder of the Du family, then I should greet you and welcome you back to the Du family." A light flashed in Du Xiaofu's eyes. He paused for a moment and looked at Master Huolei. He stuttered and said, "But senior, if I have to greet you, wouldn't I have to, what is it?" "Stop stuttering," said Huolei. "Since senior is an elder of the Du family and this is the first time you've met me, then I should greet you. But senior, do you have any greeting gifts? With senior's status, you should at least have a saint weapon, saint medicine, or something like that, right?" Du Xiaofu observed Huolei. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Huolei was stunned. His eyes were a bit blank, and his expression was a bit sluggish. "Kid, I've cultivated for tens of thousands of years. You, this is the first time I've seen someone like you." After a full breath, Huolei carefully looked at Du Xiaofu again. He originally wanted to say that after cultivating for tens of thousands of years, this was the first time he'd seen someone so thick-skinned, but he held himself back. He glared at Du Xiaofu and said, "Do you think saint medicine is candy? You can have it whenever you want. As for saint weapons and whatnot, I have no use for them, so I don't have anything on me. Heavenly treasures are fine too." Du Xiaofu stared at Huolei, unwilling to let him go. "I don't have anything on me." Huolei glared at Du Xiaofu. Hearing that, Du Xiaofu looked at Huolei from head to toe. He was becoming more and more suspicious of his identity. He said, "Senior, are you really an elder of the Du family? Kid, are you doubting me?" Fire Lightning understood. This guy in front of him was doubting him. He didn't believe his identity at all. "There's nothing I can do about it. I don't dare to forget my ancestry, so I can't just casually acknowledge an ancestor. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but be on guard against such an expert who claimed to be an ancestor of the Du clan. You brat. You're forgetting about your sect right now. Do you believe that I'll slap you to death? Fire Thunder was so angry that his beard was blowing and his eyes were glaring. However, with his round face and bulging belly, no one could feel his anger. I know that Senior's cultivation is very high, but I guess that Senior doesn't have much strength left. Otherwise, the Devil Emperor's primordial spirit wouldn't have been able to escape. As these words came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth, a purple electric arc surged out of his palm. Accompanied by a destructive aura, it instantly filled the cave. A palm-sized three-legged lightning cauldron immediately hovered above his palm, emitting a rumbling sound of thunder. Divine Thunder Cauldron. Fire Lightning glared at Du Xiaofu and said, "Kid, you dare to use the Divine Lightning Cauldron against your ancestor?" "Senior, I don't dare. However, I still have things to do right now, so I won't stay any longer. Senior, we'll meet again if fate allows." Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. He turned around and was about to leave with the purple lightning cauldron. From what he saw before, the seal under the cliff was destroyed by Moksha's purple lightning cauldron. Du Xiaofu guessed that Fire Lightning was afraid of the purple lightning cauldron. And the strongest Devil Emperor's primordial spirit had already escaped. Du Xiaofu guessed that Fire Lightning didn't have much strength left. Otherwise, the Devil Emperor's primordial spirit wouldn't have been able to escape. However, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Du Xiaofu still understood this logic. At this moment, he still couldn't tell whether the other party was a friend or a foe. However, just based on the fact that he was an ancestor of the Du clan, Du Xiaofu didn't believe that the heavens would throw a pie at him. He had to be wary of this Fire Lightning. Fire Lightning was completely stunned. His round face twitched. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He was the dignified Fire Lightning. Even tens of thousands of years ago, he was strong enough to dominate the world. Back then, even the ancestors of the 9 great clans had to be 90% courteous to him. However, this kid in front of him didn't put him in his eyes. He even took out the Divine Thunder Cauldron. It was obvious that he was threatening him. For Fire Lightning, this was completely different from what he had imagined. In his imagination, if this kid knew that he was an ancestor of the Du clan, he would definitely greet him excitedly and respectfully. At that time, he would have the final say in everything. Tens of thousands of years ago, if he, Fire Lightning, were to say that he was an ancestor, countless supreme geniuses would line up to the heavens and kowtow to him respectfully. However, this kid in front of him didn't know how to appreciate favors. "Kid, what do I have to do to make you believe me?" Looking at Du Xiaofu's back, Fire Lightning was so angry that he vomited blood. He wanted to slap that guy to death, but he had to grit his teeth and speak. At this moment, he was really afraid of the Purple Thunder Cauldron. Du Xiaofu stopped, turned around, and smiled at Fire Lightning. He said, "If you want me to believe you, Senior, you have to take out a greeting gift, right?" Looking at Du Xiaofu's smile, Fire Lightning didn't have any blood to vomit. Otherwise, he would have vomited blood already. He really couldn't understand. Back then, the guy from the Du clan was such a dull and boring person. How could this kid from the Du clan be such a pain in the ass? He was simply someone who wouldn't act until he saw a rabbit. How was this recognizing him as an ancestor? He was clearly trying to get benefits. This saint regrets. After a while, Fire Lightning looked up at the ceiling inside. If he knew that this kid would be seriously injured and unconscious, he would have killed him directly. Looking at Fire Lightning's sigh, Du Xiaofu asked with concern, "Senior, what are you regretting?" Looking at Du Xiaofu's concerned expression, Fire Lightning's heart was filled with panic. "Kid, if you don't believe that this saint is your ancestor, then forget it. Do you think this saint wants you to recognize me?" Fire Lightning was very depressed. He looked at Du Xiaofu and clenched his teeth. However, he soon calmed down. He was the Grand Fire Lightning. How could he be so shameless as to beg this kid to recognize him? If this spread out, then he wouldn't have the face to see anyone in the future. Then, Senior, let's meet again if fate allows it. Du Xiaofu smiled and turned around to leave. He was more and more convinced that Fire Lightning was tricking him. If the Du clan really had an ancestor like this, then how could they be in such dire straits? Plus, as an ancestor of the Du clan, this guy couldn't even take out something decent. Who would believe him? Don't be in such a hurry to leave. We can make a deal. Fire Lightning called out to Du Xiaofu and took a deep breath. Chapter 2017. What kind of deal? Du Xiaofu stopped and looked at Master Huolei. He was curious as to what kind of deal such an expert would make with him. To be honest, I am very weak right now. Your Thunder Martial Vein and a few types of Spirit Lightning can help me recover at the fastest speed. I need to stay with you for a while, Master Huolei said to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu looked at Master Huolei. His eyes moved slightly and he said, then what can I get? After I recover, I will help you stop the calamity from descending. Master Huolei's face was filled with boundless love as he said righteously. When the calamity descends, no one will be able to escape unscathed. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and looked at Master Huolei. He said, the Demon King's soul that escaped seemed to have said that he would not let you go. I think you should prepare yourself. Otherwise, when the Demon King's soul fuses with his body and completely recovers, the unlucky one will be you. Master Huolei stared at Du Xiaofu. At this moment, he really wanted to kill this brat. Then what do you want? Master Huolei suppressed his anger and asked Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu looked at Master Huolei's body, which was slightly illusory. He looked at him from head to toe and said meaningfully, I guess you don't have anything on you. Besides, I don't want to make a deal with you. Let's meet again if fate wills it. After saying that, Du Xiaofu turned around and left without looking back. Only Huolei Zizi's round face was left twitching. Du Xiaofu was not stupid. Master Huolei seemed to want to take his Thunder Martial Vein and Spirit Lightning. How could Du Xiaofu be willing to let that happen? It was better to leave as soon as possible. Du Xiaofu wasn't worried about stopping the calamity. When the calamity came, no one would be able to escape. Plus, the Demon King seemed to have remembered Firebolt Seed. When the time came, Firebolt Seed wouldn't be able to escape. Do you know the relationship between lightning veins and spirit thunder? Do you know how many spirit thunders there are in this world? A calm voice entered Du Xiaofu's ears. When this voice entered his ears, Du Xiaofu instinctively stopped. The voice behind him continued, you have a total of 5 types of spiritual lightning in your body. The Silver Sieve Soul Devouring Lightning, the Earth Shattering Lightning, the Golden Crow Sky Burning Lightning, the Soul Extinguishing Lightning, the Great Een Sky Thunder, and the 3000 Quaking Lightning that you have yet to fuse. Du Xiaofu turned around and looked at Master Huolei in astonishment. His heart trembled. If Master Huolei knew about the spirit thunder in his body, Du Xiaofu wouldn't have found it strange. However, Master Huolei even knew about the types of spirit thunder in his body. He even knew that his master's 3000 Quaking Lightning had yet to fuse. How could Du Xiaofu not be shocked? Looking at Du Xiaofu's astonished expression, Master Huolei smiled. He glanced at Du Xiaofu and said, there are a total of 36 types of spirit thunder in this world. You already have 6. That's not bad. What is the relationship between spirit thunder and the Thunder Martial Vein? Du Xiaofu looked at Master Huolei and asked. If he didn't have the Thunder Martial Vein, it would be impossible for him to fuse 5 types of spirit thunder in his body. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to know the answer. The relationship between spirit thunder and the Thunder Martial Vein can be said to be complicated, but it can also be said to be simple. I think that after so many years, the number of people in the outside world who know about this is definitely not more than 10. Master Huolei smiled at Du Xiaofu and continued, "Do you want to know the origin of the thunder martial vein? Do you want to know where the remaining spirit thunder is? Do you want to know how to obtain the remaining spirit thunder?" "Yes." Du Xiaofu hesitated for a moment, then nodded. The thunder martial vein had appeared in the Du family. Du Xiaofu knew that this martial vein was definitely not inferior to any of the 9 great families' martial veins. In fact, it was not inferior to any of the martial veins in the world. However, why hadn't the thunder martial vein awakened in the Du family? What was the origin of the thunder martial vein? Du Xiaofu couldn't help but want to know the answer. As for the whereabouts of the remaining spirit thunder, Du Xiaofu definitely wanted to know as well. Du Xiaofu still remembered that his master, the revered artifact, had mentioned to him that the immeasurable sect and the sky snake Manchu each had an expert with a spirit thunder. There was also Moksha and Jialo Juexiao who had a type of spirit thunder. If there were a total of 36 types of spirit thunder in the world, then there were more than 20 types of spirit thunder left. This was an irresistible temptation for Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu knew that after fusing 5 types of spirit thunder into one, every time he fused with one more type of spirit thunder, his cultivation and primordial spirit would receive great benefits. Even his thunder martial vein would evolve and strengthen. Since you want it, then it's very simple. It's still the same deal. The thunder martial vein and spirit thunder in your body can help me recover at the fastest speed. I need to stay with you for a while. Master Huolei smiled with a face full of confidence. He said, "After I recover, I will naturally tell you the whereabouts of all the spirit thunder and even help you fuse with them." "Huh." Du Xiaofu smiled faintly and said to Master Huolei, "I help you recover, and you help me find spirit thunder. Do you think I'm stupid? You want to stay with me for a while. How can I believe you?" Du Xiaofu didn't believe Master Huolei's words at all. If he allowed Master Huolei to enter his body, then he wouldn't be able to control what would happen. Even if he was fine and could help the Flames Park Master recover, it was still unknown whether the Flames Park Master would fulfill his promise with its terrifying cultivation and strength after it recovered. That was why Du Xiaofu didn't believe the fire lightning seed in front of him. Even if the fire lightning seed had an irresistible temptation, Du Xiaofu didn't want to take this risk. Master Huolei originally thought that victory was in his hands. If this kid wanted to know about the thunder martial vein and spirit thunder, then he would have to listen to him. He didn't think that the result would surprise him once again. His smile froze on his face and the corner of his eyes fiercely twitched. "Kid, let me tell you something. Without you, this saint can still recover. However, if this saint doesn't recover, then the demons will wreak havoc and the calamity will come again. No one in this world will be able to stop it. When this world turns into a demonic realm, I will naturally have a way to escape. The ones who will suffer will be the people of this world. It has nothing to do with me. Do you really think those demons can do anything to me? What a joke." Master Huolei stared at Du Xiaofu and said angrily, "In this world, aside from this saint, I'm afraid no one can find all the spirit thunder. In the heavenly devil battlefield, there are even more devil emperors' primordial spirits. When those devil emperors recover, you have the thunder martial vein and a divine thunder cauldron. At that time, I'm afraid they won't let you go. I want to see who will be the unlucky one." Chapter 2018. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. What Master Huolei said made sense. Once those demon emperors recovered, the first one they would come for would be him. Du Xiaofu knew how strong those demon emperors were. Most importantly, Du Xiaofu wasn't worried about himself, but that his master was still in the hands of the devil religion. His master's whereabouts were still unknown. However, from the 3,000 thunder spirit seed in his mind, Du Xiaofu felt that his master's life wasn't in danger. However, once those demon emperors recovered, the chances of them saving his master would be as high as the heavens. After a while, Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes and asked Master Huolei, "Senior, if you want to enter my body, you need the help of my thunder spirit vein and spirit thunder. How can I trust you? After all, one must always be on guard. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it long ago. Why would I wait until now?" Master Huolei said to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu pondered. After a few breaths, he looked at Master Huolei and said seriously, "I can do this deal, but Senior has to promise me 3 things. Otherwise, we'll just go our separate ways." "Speak." Master Huolei stared at Du Xiaofu. He felt very wronged. "First, after Senior recovers, you have to fulfill your promise and help me find the whereabouts of the other spirit thunder. You even have to help me merge with those spirit thunders." Du Xiaofu said. The temptation of spirit thunder was hard for Du Xiaofu to refuse. It was also a shortcut to increasing his strength. Of course, this saint will keep his promise. Master Huolei didn't hesitate and nodded to Du Xiaofu. This was what he had agreed to. "Second, after Senior recovers, you have to help me do 2 things. I believe these 2 things won't be too difficult for Senior," Du Xiaofu said. Master Huolei stared at Du Xiaofu. This kid was clearly trying to take advantage of the situation. He, Master Huolei, was being threatened by a junior. If word of this got out, he wouldn't have any face left. The corner of Master Huolei's eyes twitched. He was very depressed, but he still endured it. Right now, he had a favor to ask. Who asked this brat to have the thunder martial vein? There were also a few spiritual thunders that he needed to recover. "Alright, I agree. But let me warn you, kid. When the time comes, if I can do it, I will do it for you. If you dare to make things difficult for me, don't blame me for being impolite." Master Huolei glared at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu continued, "Third, Senior, swear to the heavens that once you enter my body, you will not do anything to harm me. If you go against your oath, you will be struck by lightning. You will not be able to escape the heavenly tribulation." The longer a living being cultivated, the deeper their understanding of the heavenly Tao, and the more they respected the heavenly Tao. Most people wouldn't dare to go against an oath to the heavenly Tao. The risk of being struck by a heavenly tribulation was no joke. "Brat, are you threatening me?" Master Huolei finally couldn't take it anymore. Even in the ancient times, when hundreds of schools were fighting, no one dared to disrespect him. However, this brat didn't put him in his eyes at all. "I don't dare, but this is a trade. A trade must be fair, just, and there must be guarantees for both parties. I can trust that Senior will fulfill your promise after you recover, but shouldn't Senior also guarantee my safety and make me trust you? If Senior can't make the oath, then let's go our separate ways." Du Xiaofu looked at Master Huolei with a firm gaze. Under the premise of everything, Du Xiaofu hoped that he could protect himself first. Otherwise, everything would be empty talk. What Master Huolei said was true. If he had any bad intentions, Du Xiaofu could have done it already. However, Du Xiaofu didn't completely believe him. One must always be on guard against others. Even his own uncle wanted to dig out his heart, let alone someone he had just met. Good, there will be a time when you beg me in the future." Master Huolei's face turned red from anger. After saying, "Good, twice," he stared at Du Xiaofu and said, "I, Master Huolei, swear that I have no ill intentions towards this brat. Otherwise, I will be struck by heavenly tribulation and be struck by heavenly thunder." Du Xiaofu smiled. He looked at Master Huolei with an embarrassed smile and said, "Senior is too polite. This brat just wants to have some guarantees. Please forgive me." "Humph." Master Huolei snorted and stared at Du Xiaofu, "I will enter your brain. Don't try to stop me, or else you will have to bear the consequences." Chi. As soon as he finished speaking, Master Huolei's figure disappeared. At the same time, the crystal-clear red and blue flame fluctuated and turned into a red and blue arc of lightning. It directly flew towards Du Xiaofu's forehead. Like water falling into mud, it disappeared from Du Xiaofu's forehead. Du Xiaofu didn't try to stop it, but he was instinctively on guard. He allowed the red and blue flame to enter his brain and enter his brain. So hot. When the red and blue flame rushed into his brain, it was accompanied by a terrifying heat that spread throughout Du Xiaofu's brain. The scorching aura caused Du Xiaofu's soul to tremble on the 9 revolutions divine thunder lotus. Immediately, silver-gold arcs of lightning appeared along with starlight. Qi, the crimson-blue flame surged into Du Xiaofu's Naiwen palace, like a crystal-clear crimson-blue jade. Is this a primordial spirit or a pulse spirit? Master Huolei's illusory figure appeared on the red and blue flame once again. He looked at Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit's red horse monkey body with a surprised expression. He had already seen Du Xiaofu's red horse monkey body, but this was the first time he felt something strange about it. However, Master Huolei was only surprised for a moment before returning to normal. He had traveled through the ancient times and had seen too many primordial geniuses and supreme geniuses. Any one of them was extraordinary. Alright, kid, I need the power of your spiritual thunder and thunder martial vein to recover. Don't be nervous, I know what to do. As soon as he finished speaking, Master Huolei's illusory figure quietly disappeared. Walala, at this moment, a red and blue flame rose from Du Xiaofu's body. It was accompanied by an arc of lightning that spread throughout his body. When the flame and arc of lightning appeared, the thunder martial vein in Du Xiaofu's body immediately surged. It was unable to resist the invisible force. A wave of killing intent surged, and thunder rumbled. At the same time, the red and blue flame in Du Xiaofu's Naiwen palace also spread. Strands of red and blue flame fluctuated towards the red horse monkey's body and attracted the spiritual thunder for no reason. Boom! Inside the Naiwen palace, there was an arc of lightning. On Du Xiaofu's body, the purple talisman runes shone brightly. The thunder martial vein was activated, causing lightning to flash and thunder to rumble in the cave. Under such a change, Du Xiaofu immediately felt that the thunder martial vein in his body and the spiritual thunder in the red horse monkey's body in his Naiwen palace were being devoured. Chapter 2019. Even the Xian Qi in Du Xiaofu's spirit gate was strangely disappearing. Along with the power of the thunder martial vein and spirit lightning, the Xian Qi continuously surged into the scarlet blue flames. The devouring power was formless and enormous, making it impossible for Du Xiaofu to resist. At this moment, even the thunder martial vein and spirit lightning in his body were no longer under Du Xiaofu's control. Not good, Du Xiaofu broke out in a cold sweat. Under the influence of the scarlet blue flames, the thunder martial vein and spirit lightning were no longer under his control. Energy continuously surged into the scarlet blue flames, and a large amount of the Xian Qi in the spirit gate was also disappearing. Du Xiaofu wanted to stop it, but he didn't know where to start. The scarlet blue flames seemed to have merged with the thunder martial vein and spirit lightning. Senior, what are you trying to do? Du Xiaofu was shocked, and his mind asked in his Naiwen palace. Don't worry, it won't take your life. It's just that this saint is extremely weak and needs some energy. I didn't think that your primordial spirit and Xian Qi would be so large. It's really inconceivable. Master Huolei's voice came from the mysterious scarlet blue flames. No, it's not good for me if you continue to devour like this. If you continue, we'll immediately cancel this deal. Du Xiaofu refused without hesitation. The energy in the spirit lightning and thunder martial vein was quickly disappearing. What made Du Xiaofu feel the most was the Xian Qi in the spirit gate. At this moment it was like a torrential flood that was quickly disappearing. This speed was too fast, so fast that it made Du Xiaofu uneasy. This was the heavenly devil battlefield. If he was extremely weak, he wouldn't even have the ability to protect himself. If that was the case, Du Xiaofu didn't want to make this deal. "Brat, it's not up to you now," Master Huolei said. Master Huolei opened his mouth. The red and blue flames around him completely ignored Du Xiaofu. He was sullen at the start, and now he had a belly full of anger. Now that this brat had no choice, he could use this chance to teach him a lesson. As soon as Master Huolei finished speaking, Du Xiaofu clearly felt the devouring power increase instead of decreasing. The energy in the thunder martial vein and spirit thunder, as well as the profound qi in the god's watchtower, were all disappearing even faster. "Fire lightning seed, our deal is cancelled. Cancel it immediately," Du Xiaofu shouted. "It's not up to you to decide." Master Huolei didn't plan on paying attention to Du Xiaofu at all. If it wasn't for the fact that he was extremely weak and was afraid of the godly thunder cauldron, he would have killed this brat a long time ago. At this moment, he didn't want to pay attention to this brat at all. "Fire lightning, you old bastard!" Du Xiaofu cursed. As expected, he had been tricked. He used all of his strength to activate the thunder martial vein and primordial spirit. He wanted to break free from the invisible devouring power and expel the mysterious red and blue flames from his Naiwan palace. "Bastard brat, it seems like if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know that I'm your ancestor," Master Huolei said angrily. The mysterious red and blue flames flickered, and the invisible devouring power increased once again. "Master Huolei, you old bastard. You still want to pretend to be my ancestor? I'm not done with you," Du Xiaofu cursed. However, no matter how hard he tried, even if he used the Golden Winged Rock Clan's cultivation technique, it was useless. He couldn't break free from Master Huolei's invisible devouring power. The profound qi, thunder martial vein, and spirit thunder in his primordial spirit were getting weaker and weaker. The thunder martial vein and spirit thunder seemed to have no effect on the mysterious red and blue flames. They even seemed to want to merge into one. This made Du Xiaofu even more worried and vigilant. "Brat, give up. You can't stop me." Master Huolei's voice echoed in Du Xiaofu's Naiwan palace. At this moment, he had already entered the brat's Naiwan palace. Everything was under his control. "Old bastard, do you really think that I can't do anything to you?" Du Xiaofu shouted. In his palm, a purple and gold streamer jumped out. The purple thunder profound cauldron immediately flew out. Although it couldn't resist the invisible devouring power, the purple thunder profound cauldron could still be activated. "Brat, what do you want to do?" Master Huolei felt the purple thunder profound cauldron's aura and was astonished. "You'll know soon," Du Xiaofu shouted. With a thought, the purple thunder profound cauldron suddenly expanded and rotated. Du Xiaofu's figure directly flew into the purple thunder profound cauldron. Rumble, when Du Xiaofu's figure appeared again, he was already in the space inside the purple thunder profound cauldron. Purple thunderclouds rolled and thunder rumbled. Electric arcs flashed. Then, amidst the rumbling of thunder, the electric arcs condensed into thunderbolts and fell like a rainstorm. Du Xiaofu did not use the immortal Xian body and allowed the purple thunder profound cauldron to hit his body. Zalala, as the thunderbolts fell, Du Xiaofu's body overflowed with electric arcs and merged with the thunder martial vein. However, most of the thunderbolts were destructive and damaged his body. Du Xiaofu's body had already attained the immortal Xian body. Although he didn't resist, his body had already developed an immunity against the purple thunder profound cauldron. He was only damaged by the purple thunder profound cauldron. However, there was a limit to this kind of damage. The endless purple gold profound thunder bombarded Du Xiaofu's body like a giant snake, bringing with it a destructive power. Not long after, Du Xiaofu's body began to be seriously damaged and ruptured. Although Du Xiaofu had experienced such an impact once, he still couldn't bear it and shouted out loud. The pain was unbearable. Bang bang, thunder rumbled and Du Xiaofu cried out in pain. His body was constantly cracking and gradually becoming a bloody mess under the thunderbolts. "Brat, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill yourself?" Master Huolei was shocked. Everything outside naturally couldn't escape his prying eyes. This brat actually put himself inside the divine thunder cauldron and attacked him. Was he looking for death? If this brat really died, then he would be in big trouble inside the divine thunder cauldron. Although this was only one of the 9 divine thunder cauldrons, his current situation was really troublesome. "I'm not sure if I'll die or not, but I'd like to see how long you can hide." Du Xiaofu shouted coldly. The purple gold profound cauldron continued to explode. His body was already badly mutilated and wrapped in purple electric arcs. The purple gold heavenly palace, illusion saber formation, ancient desolate space and 9 revolutions divine Lei Lian were also exposed outside. "Brat, bastard, you better stop right now." Master Huolei cursed. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was badly mutilated and he couldn't escape. The terrifying purple gold profound cauldron also affected him greatly. "Master Huolei, if you don't want to come out, then let's continue." Du Xiaofu cursed. His voice came from his primordial spirit. Although he was in a terrible state and the pain was unbearable, at least Master Huolei was greatly affected. At least, the devouring power in his body had disappeared. "The end of the heavenly devil battlefield has caused me to be stuck for 2 days. Today, there is only one update. Please forgive me." Chapter 2020. Du Xiaofu guessed that Master Huolei was indeed afraid of the godly thunder cauldron. "Kid, you better stop. Do you think you can defeat me like this? Huh, you underestimate me too much." Master Huolei suddenly laughed. The thunder martial vein and spiritual thunder were too useful to him. He didn't believe that this kid would really commit suicide. There must be something strange about him that made him not afraid of the godly thunder cauldron. He just wanted to force him out. Chi La, as soon as he finished speaking, the cluster of red and blue flames suddenly turned into countless red and blue sparks that bloomed like fireworks. In an extremely strange way, they directly merged with the spiritual thunder in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit and disappeared. The purple gold profound thunder roared and crackled. Bolts of purple gold profound thunder landed on Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, but they couldn't affect the red and blue flames at all. Du Xiaofu wanted to expel the red and blue flames from his primordial spirit, but there was nothing he could do. "Give up. Be honest and don't suffer too much." Master Huolei's voice came from Du Xiaofu's spiritual thunder in his primordial spirit. Victory was in his hands, and he had already entered this kid's spiritual thunder. How could this kid not be obedient? Du Xiaofu was helpless and could only give up. He calmed the purple thunder cauldron with his mind. His mangled body was then covered in a purple and gold light, and in a strange way, it directly recovered. He was naked, and his body was covered in a purple and gold color. His face was pale. So strange, Master Huolei was shocked. Du Xiaofu's recovery couldn't escape his eyes. This was too strange. His body was damaged to such an extent, but at this moment, it was as if there was no damage at all. Standing in the purple thunder cauldron, Du Xiaofu's eyes were serious. He had used all his methods, but there was nothing he could do. "Brat, now you'll be honest. You can't beat this saint." Master Huolei laughed. The red and blue sparks in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit condensed into a red and blue flame. It was about to step out of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit and continue to devour Du Xiaofu's spirit thunder and thunder martial vein. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything. Suddenly, he sat down cross-legged within the purple gold profound bomb, formed a seal with his hands, and muttered something. "The Tao of heaven and earth uses yin and yang to create all things. Heaven and earth, sun and moon, thunder and lightning, wind and rain, for seasons, male and female, hard and soft, movement and stillness. All things are divided into yin and yang. As Du Xiaofu muttered something, a dazzling ray of light burst out from within his soul. The mysterious runes of talismans gushed out like a tide, dazzling and dazzling like the sun. The dazzling light that spread out instantly wrapped around the red and blue flame that was about to step out of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. A strange force immediately separated the red and blue flame from the primordial spirit. This strange change caused Master Huolei to let out a surprised exclamation. He was very surprised. As Master Huolei paused for a short moment, the dazzling mysterious runes shone like a divine light. The mysterious runes flashed and turned into a series of unfamiliar characters. It was like a net of light that enveloped the red and blue flame. The unfamiliar characters were like ancient runes that bloomed like fireworks and wrapped around the red and blue flame. The heavens and earth see people as mayflies, and the heavens and earth see the heavens and earth as bubbles. Only the true nature of the primordial spirit surpasses the essence of the primordial spirit. The essence of the primordial spirit dissipates along with the heavens and earth. However, as long as the primordial spirit exists, it is limitless. It is born from the heavens and earth. This voice was like the sound of the heavens as it echoed around the red and blue flame. There was a large amount of energy from the heavens and earth that contained an ancient pressure. It also contained a terrifying devouring force that devoured the red and blue flame. This devouring force wasn't too fierce, but it was vast and powerful. It was as if it was a natural counter to the red and blue flame. "Brat, what are you doing?" Master Huolei's voice changed. For the first time, he was shocked. This pressure made him feel uneasy for no reason. He couldn't break free from the mysterious net of light, as if he was being restrained for no reason. Du Xiaofu ignored Master Huolei and sat down like an old monk inside the purple thunder Xian furnace. He continued to mutter, "If you want to see the primordial spirit, you must first see the light of the primordial spirit. This light is the light of the true primordial spirit. Without light, it is difficult to find the true primordial spirit." At this moment, Du Xiaofu activated the mysterious incomplete cultivation method in his mind. When he was refining the thunder inside his body, he had the help of the mysterious incomplete cultivation method. At this moment, Du Xiaofu thought of the mysterious incomplete cultivation method. He didn't think it would actually be effective. With the activation of this mysterious cultivation method, Du Xiaofu could clearly feel that the scarlet blue flame was being directly restrained in his Yuan spirit. There was even a huge devouring power contained in the crude runes that wanted to devour and refine the scarlet blue flame. Du Xiaofu rejoiced in his heart as the mysterious incomplete cultivation method worked. He kept chanting, and the unfamiliar characters seemed to come to life, constantly suppressing, binding, and swallowing the red and blue flames. "Little brat, stop." Master Huolei's voice was filled with waves. A blazing destructive force spread out to resist the devouring force of the mysterious incomplete cultivation method. That blazing destructive force once again caused Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit to feel unbearable pain. It was as if his mind was about to be torn apart and burned. "If you come out, I will naturally stop." Du Xiaofu clenched his teeth. It was not easy for it to work, so he naturally wouldn't let it go. He used all of his strength to activate the mysterious incomplete cultivation method. "Little brat, you want both of us to be injured and die together." Master Huolei shouted. The red and blue flame continued to burn. It carried with it an arc of lightning and a destructive aura. However, at this moment, the mysterious characters were like thunder. They contained a powerful pressure that suppressed the red and blue flame. The two of them were in a stalemate. No one could gain the upper hand. If this continued, both of them would be injured. "Both of us will be injured. Even if both of us die together, I won't let you do as you wish." Du Xiaofu didn't plan on stopping. Instead of being threatened by Master Huolei, it was better for both of them to be injured. He didn't trust Master Huolei anymore. What kind of cultivation method is this? You little bastard, Master Huolei's voice was like thunder. He was also scared and shocked. The mysterious characters seemed to be some kind of cultivation method that made him feel uneasy. And this little brat was being so cruel to him. It was as if he had already made up his mind. He didn't care if both of them were injured. Master Huolei didn't doubt Du Xiaofu's determination. That little brat could even attack him, so what couldn't he do? Chapter 2021. Brat, stop. Let's discuss this. Huolei said. If this continued, both sides would suffer. He was very weak right now and couldn't take it. This brat had the thunder vein, so he couldn't let anything happen to him. Come out. Our deal is off. From now on, we won't interfere with each other's business. Du Xiaofu said. That's impossible. This saint needs your thunder vein and spirit thunder to recover. However, I can guarantee that I will control it and not let you become too weak, Huolei said. He couldn't back down on this point. He didn't plan to let Du Xiaofu become too weak. He just wanted to take the opportunity to vent his anger. However, he didn't expect this brat to be so ruthless to him in the end. I won't believe you again. Du Xiaofu shouted. Huolei was too cunning. He wouldn't be fooled again. You have no choice. You have no other choice. I said that I would try my best not to let you be too weak, so I won't make things difficult for you. If you die, it won't do me any good. I can feel that the seal outside the heavenly devil battlefield is getting weaker and weaker. I'm afraid that the real Saint Realm cultivators will be able to enter soon. If I recover quickly, I can more or less lend you a hand when you are in danger. Otherwise, with your current cultivation and strength, you are invincible under the Saint Realm, but if you encounter the Saint Realm cultivators of the Devil sect, you will definitely be doomed. Huolei continued to speak in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. I already swore that I won't do you any harm. It's up to you to believe me or not. If you don't want to believe me, then we'll both die together. Huolei was very depressed. How did he meet such a troublesome brat? Tens of thousands of years ago, he swept through the Kyushu's 3 continents and 1 realm. Who didn't treat him with respect? He had never met such a brat. Du Xiaofu pondered. Huolei was too mysterious and terrifying. However, he didn't seem to have any ill intentions towards him. At least, what he said was right. If he died, it wouldn't do him any good. As for the real mutual destruction of both sides, Du Xiaofu didn't want to take that step until the very last moment. What Master Huolei had said was that he could help Du Xiaofu when he encountered a Saint Realm expert. This was definitely a great temptation for Du Xiaofu in the heavenly devil battlefield. At least he would have the power to protect himself. Okay, it's a deal. After pondering and thinking, Du Xiaofu, he nodded. Huolei, Huolei, Huolei. Huolei, Huolei, if you dare to go back on Lace, then we will both. Little, Huolei Hua, Huolei, Huolei Hua. After a while, Du Xiaofu and Huolei Hua came to an agreement. Huolei Hua stayed in Du Xiaofu's Naiwan palace and devoured the energy from the thunder vein and spirit thunder. He also devoured the Xian Qi from the spirit watchtower. However, his speed was already very slow. It was just enough for Du Xiaofu to endure. Du Xiaofu took out a lot of precious medicines from his cosmos bag and stuffed them into his mouth. He used the Golden Winged Rock Clan's technique to refine and replenish his energy. Du Xiaofu was already severely injured before he fainted. The torment from before and Huolei Hua's devouring made him extremely weak. How strange. You are clearly a human, but you can cultivate the Golden Winged Rock Clan's technique. Your body seems to be even stronger than a real Golden Winged Rock. Unbelievable, Huolei Hua's voice came out from Du Xiaofu's Naiwan palace. Back then, those supreme geniuses from the ancient era were all stronger and stranger than the last. However, he wasn't as shocked as he was now. Du Xiaofu ignored Hua Lei Hua and sat down cross-legged to refine the precious medicines in his body. The vast plain was boundless. The sky was dark, and it was shrouded in an oppressive aura. On the plain, there was a huge mountain that stood tall like a giant tomb. It was grand and magnificent, like a hibernating giant beast. Looking at it from afar, it made people's hearts feel oppressed. Rumble, suddenly, cracks spread out from the edges of the giant tomb. Light overflowed and rushed into the sky, causing the ground to tremble. The seal is finally about to open. The inheritance treasure is about to appear. Countless living beings in the surroundings immediately became excited and trembled because of this. This was a secret place in the heavenly devil battlefield. They had come here for the ancient and dazzling treasures. At this moment, the secret place was finally about to open. In an instant, the surroundings of the giant mountain became noisy. None of the creatures could sit still. Their eyes shone brightly as they held ice blades in their hands. Their auras were surging. They were ready to charge at the strongest at any time to fight for the ancient and dazzling inheritance and treasure. Many experts began to appear, their auras vigorous. Many elders of the major forces flew into the sky, waiting for the best opportunity. Many beast race magnates were entrenched in the void. On a huge rock, a golden-clothed man whose facial features were as handsome as if they were carved by a knife was looking in the direction of the huge mountain. The corners of his lips, which always carried a hint of a wanton smile, were slightly frowning at this moment. His pair of bright golden eyes were slightly focused. Beside the young man in golden clothes, a woman stood. She was wearing a bright red silk dress that trailed on the ground. Her beautiful black hair was tied up with a few bright red hair ribbons. Her figure was beautiful. She looked at the giant mountain in front of her and said softly to the young man in golden clothes, "Something seems wrong. Phantom, be careful. There's demonic aura." The man in golden clothes said. His long golden hair draped over his shoulders. His body was thin and tall, and his skin was crystal clear. It seemed to be emitting a faint golden luster. His whole body was emitting a majestic aura. "Could it be that you, Du Xiaoyao, can't see what's inside?" The woman smiled slightly. Her smile was as elegant and clear as a budding lotus, but there was a hint of charm in it. She said to the man in golden clothes, "I can't see through it. It's very strange." The man in golden clothes shook his head. His golden eyes were deep and emitted a faint golden light. However, he couldn't see through the giant mountain in front of him. Rumble, the cracks in the ground around the giant mountain continued to expand, and the light became more and more dazzling. Rumbling sounds continued to be heard, as if some supreme being was awakening, causing heaven and earth to resonate. "Are you still trying to trap me?" Suddenly, a thunderous voice sounded from within the giant mountain. Along with the sound waves, demonic aura surged into the sky. "Suppress." Inside the giant mountain, light filled the sky. An ancient voice sounded, and a supreme power seemed to have transcended time and space to descend. "Fire demon envoy, ice demon envoy, I've come to lend the 8-demon emperor a hand." Monstrous demonic aura descended, seeping out from the void. Two figures tore through space and arrived. A scorching hot aura and a chilling cold aura descended from the void at the same time. Chapter 2022. They were two old men. One of them had long red hair that draped over his shoulders, while the other had white hair that fluttered in the wind. Both of them emanated monstrous demonic energy. "He's from the devil religion. He's a half-saint. He's very strong." The golden-robed man's face darkened as he looked at the two old men. When the two old men appeared, they didn't even look at the surrounding creatures. Demonic chi surged, and a terrifying pressure swept out, causing the surrounding creatures to tremble in fear. Black runes gushed out as the two old men attacked. Two energy waves blasted towards the huge mountain. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Boom, the mountain shook even more violently, and the cracks grew bigger and bigger, as if it would collapse at any moment. I understand now. The demons of the devil religion are being suppressed inside. They want to escape. The golden-robed man raised his head. His spirit eyes shone, and within his pupils, golden light flashed like lightning. We can't let the devil religion get what they want. The devil religion and the Rock Emperor were like fire and water. Since this matter was related to the devil religion, she couldn't let the devil religion have their way. You can't interfere yet. I'll stop it. As soon as he finished speaking, the golden-robed man leaped into the air. The golden light in his eyes became even more resplendent. His entire body glowed, and his aura surged, shaking the void. He threw a punch directly at the red-haired old man's chest. This fist caused the void to explode with a rumbling sound. The golden runes were like the radiant sun. You're courting death. The red-haired old man from the devil religion bellowed, killing intent gushing out from his eyes. This old man was the fire devil envoy, and he had a high position in the devil religion. Sensing that someone had interfered, he shook his arm, and demonic energy surged. A strange burning flame swept out, condensing into a fist, and directly collided with the former. He wanted to kill the former with a single punch. Bang bang, the low, muffled sound was like thunder, sonorous and deafening. The golden light and demonic flames were like waves, spreading out endless energy ripples, shaking the void and shocking all living beings. Dang dang. The golden-robed man staggered back a few steps. However, at that moment, the demon envoy of fire's body was sent flying backward. He only managed to stabilize his body after he was dozens of feet away. His back shattered the space, and his expression changed drastically. You too, scram. Taking advantage of the momentum, the golden-robed man's figure was like a flash of golden lightning as he pounced towards the white-haired old man. Demon spirits or beasts? Indestructible. The white-haired elder was the ice demon envoy of the devil religion. His expression changed when he sensed the aura of the golden-robed man. The undying and indestructible realm was already very powerful. Just now, the fire demon envoy was at a disadvantage, so he had to be careful. Boom! The ice demon emissary made his move. Frosty aura shot up into the sky and froze the void. White frost rose thousands of feet high, drowning the void and freezing everything. It extended toward the golden-robed man. Under such a cold aura, quite a few of the creatures who had already retreated were affected again. Frost hung from their hair, and some of their faces turned pale, their bodies trembling. This kind of cold energy came from the inside out, freezing the primordial spirit. It couldn't be removed. The 1,000-feet-tall ice energy froze the void and swept over. Boom! The golden-clothed man did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. Golden light burst out from his body and golden talisman runes filled the sky. In an instant, his body turned into a golden ape that was 1,000 feet tall and appeared. Redbone horse monkey, he is the desolate country's Du Xiaoyao. Such a redbone horse monkey in the sky immediately caused a series of exclamations. Roar, the redbone horse monkey roared. His aura was full of vitality, and an endless amount of dazzling light erupted. The power seemed to be able to suppress and destroy the surrounding space, giving people the feeling of the beginning of the world. Rumble, this was the redbone horse monkey. Wherever his figure passed, the 1,000-feet-tall ice energy directly shattered amidst the rumbling of the void. His huge figure pounced forward, and a fist came crashing down. Ice Demon Seal. The Ice Demon Envoy's expression changed drastically. He formed a hand seal, and ice raged, turning into a huge ice hand seal. Aoo, demonic aura surged, and there were layers of demonic shadows. Ghostly wails could be heard from the hand seal, as if countless demonic creatures were about to pounce out. Swoosh swoosh, the two collided, and golden light surged. Countless ice crystals shot out in all directions like meteorites. The ice demon envoy's body was knocked back, and his eyes were filled with shock. Du Xiaoyao's huge redbone horse monkey body towered in front of the huge mountain. Golden light shone brightly, and his spiritual eyes looked down, wanting to stop the devil religion. The desolate country's redbone horse monkey. The fire demon envoy, who had just been knocked back, stepped forward and looked at the redbone horse monkey's body. His expression changed. He had long heard that the desolate country had a redbone horse monkey, and that it was a terrifying creature in the legends. The redbone horse monkey actually exists. The ice demon envoy's figure swept forward, and the icy energy gathered again, as if it had covered his body, turning into 100 feet tall ice giant. Along with the demonic aura, there was a saintly aura descending. Let's end this quickly. Don't make any mistakes. At the same time, the flames and demonic aura around the fire demon envoy surged. His body expanded, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a demonic fire giant. The flames around him roared, and the demonic aura fluctuated. Under the terrifying pressure, it made the souls of living beings tremble. Boom! The ice demon envoy and the fire demon envoy reached an agreement. The two of them swept out at the same time. One was cold, the other was hot. They did not hold back their sage-to-be aura, and they wanted to finish off Du Xiaoyao with lightning speed. The two of them joined forces. The two of them were sage-to-be experts, and they brought with them a terrifying pressure. The demonic aura filled the sky, and the heavens and earth rumbled. Rumble, the sound of the heavens resounded, and it lingered on. At that moment, 10 divine rings appeared behind Du Xiaoyao's 100 feet tall redbone horse monkey. They brought with them an imposing pressure, and they brought with them a supreme divine aura. They immediately clashed with the ice demon envoy and the fire demon envoy, and the three of them clashed fiercely. Everyone was shocked. Those three figures were too frightening. The energy shockwaves that swept out made their hair stand on end. Once they were affected, their bodies would probably be crushed immediately. Roar, Du Xiaoyao roared, and with the support of the Great Circle Supreme Being aura, he was like a divine ape in the sky. His movements were as fast as lightning, and he constantly clashed with the fire demon envoy and the ice demon envoy. However, it didn't take long for Du Xiaoyao to be suppressed and at a disadvantage. After all, they were sage-to-be experts from the devil religion. Du Xiaoyao wasn't able to gain any advantage. However, Du Xiaoyao wasn't in a difficult situation even though he was fighting against two people. With his abnormal body and various talents, the ice demon envoy and the fire demon envoy couldn't do anything to him. On the contrary, the ice demon envoy and the fire demon envoy were getting more and more shocked. The two of them joined forces, but they couldn't do anything to the redbone horse monkey. How could they not be shocked? Rumble, a muffled explosion resounded. Under the impact of the demonic aura, the swaying giant mountain finally couldn't resist and cracked. Endless demonic aura gushed out, and giant rocks soared into the sky. It's time to end everything. Kiki. The giant mountain collapsed, and the earth shook. The demonic aura soared and covered the sky. It shook the universe, and a giant demonic figure appeared in the void. The creatures in the surroundings were frightened, and their expressions changed greatly. This secret land with the inheritance of a treasure actually sealed an evil demon. Chapter 2023. The demonic shadow's eyes were like black holes as he looked at Du Xiaoyao, staring at the symbol of inaction nirvana behind Du Xiaoyao's back. Let's go. But it was only for a moment. The demonic shadow turned around and looked at the shattered mountain. Then, his huge figure disappeared into the void. The fire demon envoy and the ice demon envoy who were attacking Du Xiaoyao also left in an instant. Du Xiaoyao looked at the demonic shadow, the fire demon envoy, and the earth demon envoy who left. Her eyes were serious. In the vast waters, there was a huge island that stretched across the surface of the water. Reefs were clustered around the island in clusters. On the reefs, a figure appeared. His aura was soaring. Whoosh, no one knew when it started, but the water surface was undulating. The waves were getting more and more intense. Rumble, in the waters, the rumbling sounds were endless. The island shook as if something was about to rush out from the depths of the waters. A treasure is about to appear. Everyone, get ready. Pairs of eyes were red. The crowd was excited as they stared at the shaking island. There's demonic aura. Something's wrong. On top of a huge reef, a woman's eyebrows were slightly furrowed. Her delicate face had changed color. She wore a light green dress that accentuated her slender waist. 2 strands of glossy black hair gently brushed against her cheeks. Her skin was smooth and moist like warm jade. Her cherry lips were red without any lipstick, adding to her allure. Demonic aura. Could it be the devil religion? A heavenly voice came from a woman in a purple dress. Her purple dress was fluttering in the air. There were purple flames on it, outlining her seductive figure. She was like a fairy who didn't belong to the mortal world. At this moment, there was a little girl who appeared to be around 10 years old in front of these 2 women. Her tender face had a pair of eyes that did not match those of her age group. They were bewitching and noble. She stared intently at the trembling island and said to the 2 women beside her, "Mother, both of you should be careful." "Sister Xingxing, what's wrong?" Behind the 2 women, a little girl of 4 or 5 years old came out from between the 2 women. She was very young, and her voice was still childish, but there was a kind of beauty between her brows that surpassed her age. Under her long eyelashes, there was a pair of beautiful big eyes that made one's heart palpitate. They were lively and spirited, and they were looking forward curiously. "Little girl, you be careful too. Don't run around." She patted the little girl's forehead. Her skirt was surrounded by patterns of stars, and a faint golden light shone in the depths of her eyes, which were already showing signs of being a beauty. Rumble, as soon as the little girl finished speaking, the ground beneath the island shook, and the water surged like a tsunami. Demonic chi shot into the sky. "7th demon, it's not that easy to get out of here." An ancient voice rang out from the bottom of the island. Light soared into the sky, and dense talisman runes wrapped around the island, forming a mysterious net of light. An ancient aura seemed to have traveled through time and space, descending and spreading across time and space. Chi La, above the void, 2 cracks seemed to have been torn open, and 2 figures came out from the void. One was a middle-aged man in a gray robe with a hood that covered most of his face. There was a violent wind around him that surged with demonic chi. The other was a middle-aged man with short hair. His body was hazy and shrouded in demonic chi. Lightning flashed through his eyes, and it was as if lightning was shooting out from his eyes. It was a heart-palpitating sight. When these 2 figures appeared, the heart-palpitating aura made the hearts of all the creatures in the water tremble. Their souls suddenly trembled. People from the devil religion. They are half-saints. The woman who spoke first raised her head. Her eyes were filled with starlight, and her dress was fluttering. Mysterious runes surged and shrouded her graceful and slender body. She was Qi Yi Shi, and the beautiful woman in the purple dress and the little girl beside her were Zishuan and little Xingxing. Rumble. When the 2 middle-aged men appeared, a terrifying energy attack swept out, and immediately swept towards the shaking island. The rumbling sound was accompanied by a monstrous rumble. Demonic chi surged, and evil aura whistled. Lightning flashed, and the island trembled violently. The light net dimmed. The devil religion seems to want to break the seal. They want to save someone. We can't let them do as they wish. A slightly childish voice came from little Xingxing's mouth. The little figure had already soared into the sky, and his little fist blasted towards the middle-aged man who was wrapped in lightning. The golden flame in front of the fist burned the void. Eh? The middle-aged man was surprised, but then his eyes were filled with killing intent. He shook his arm, and his fist was wrapped in demonic thunder. Lightning gathered and collided directly. Bang! A dull sound spread. The space where the fists collided shattered inch by inch. The golden flame and lightning swept in all directions. The middle-aged man's figure was directly pushed back, and his expression changed drastically. Pain and burning pain came from his fist. The flame on the little fist made him afraid, and the defense was astonishing. Little Xingxing's little figure was also pushed back, but he steadied himself after 2 steps. The little figure then continued to pounce on the middle-aged man like lightning. "You're courting death." The middle-aged man was furious. With his status in the devil religion, he actually suffered a loss at the hands of a little girl. This was intolerable. He formed a hand seal, and a monstrous demonic chi and lightning swept out like a storm. The demonic chi was monstrous, and lightning arcs raged. In an instant, it seemed to have turned into a sea of lightning in the void. The demonic chi billowed, and blocked little Xingxing. "Little Xingxing, be careful!" Qi Yi Shi shouted. At the same time, the light on her body surged. Her beautiful figure carried an extraordinary holiness as she pounced on the middle-aged man with long black hair. Her wrist was white, and a hand seal was shot out from her palm. There were talisman runes surging out from this handprint, bringing with it a vast aura that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. This person is already a half-saint. Let's work together to deal with him. Zi Xian said. Her beautiful figure followed behind Qi Yi Shi. Her delicate hand was wrapped in purple flames, and the blazing purple flames erupted like purple lava. The monstrous purple flames surged like a sea of fire, twisting the space and crushing the black-haired middle-aged man with Qi Yi Shi. "You're not enough." The black-haired middle-aged man was about to continue bombarding the island seal, but he turned back. A cold light filled his eyes, and a gust of wind accompanied by demonic chi formed an evil aura that shook the world. It was as if a demonic realm had been opened. Demonic chi erupted, and the evil aura surged toward the 2 women. Dang dang! In the storm, Qi Yi Shi and Zi Xian were pushed back at the same time. A half-saint is too strong. Let's work together to deal with him. A graceful woman traversed the void and appeared beside Qi Yi Shi and Zi Xian. She was extremely beautiful, and her face was as smooth as the autumn water. She was so refined that there was not a trace of the mortal world. She was Huang Linger of the Phoenix clan. Chapter 2024. Us Two. Following behind Huang Ling, 3 figures flashed out together. They were 2 women and 1 man. The woman had willowy eyebrows and a snowy face. Her red clothes outlined her sexy figure, and she wore a cloak of the same color. She looked noble and valiant. The man had a handsome face, and his eyes were filled with 5-colored light. His red hair fell over his shoulders, and he stood tall and straight under his battle robe. He looked extraordinary. Beside the man in battle robes, there was another man in a long robe. He stood there quietly, as if his body could emit an invisible light that made it impossible for people to ignore him. If Du Xiaofu was here, he would definitely be able to recognize these 3 people. They were Feng Wu, Feng Chu, and Feng Han of the Phoenix clan. "Ao!" a dragon roar resounded. Not far away, in the sea of lightning, little Xingxing transformed into his true form. His entire body was pure gold, and his 100-foot wings were like phoenix wings. Blazing flames spread out, and starlight flowed on his dragon scales. Accompanied by the domineering aura of the golden-winged rock clan and a terrifying supreme aura, it swept through the sky, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. This kind of pure gold dragon crossed the void, not afraid of the waves of the sea of lightning at all. It crossed over, shattering the space. There was a divine ring behind it, and a terrifying power swept out with the momentum of thunder. It caused the expression of the devil religion's middle-aged man to change greatly. "Stop the devil religion. Qi Yi," she said. Yin and yang energies flowed, and starlight swept out. It was as if a river of stars had appeared in the sky. The stars rotated and rumbled, and the supreme power behind them was in the sky. Ji, rumble, a series of cries resounded. A huge purple flame demon phoenix and 4 other phoenixes appeared in the sky, as if they covered the sky, and flames rushed into the sky. Among them, a 7-colored phoenix was the most dazzling, and its light was dazzling. Divine rings appeared in the sky one after another. Several waves of supreme being force surged at the same time, making the heavenly sound of the void unendingly rumble and sonorous, shatter the heavenly dome. These terrifying attacks all rushed toward the middle-aged man in gray from the devil religion, launching a fierce attack. Flames and starlight rushed into the sky, and demonic energy and yin and yang energies covered the sky. Bang, 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 energy runes shook in all directions, and the attacks were like lightning, and then the space was constantly shattered. Oh my God! This scene made the creatures in all directions tremble with fear, overwhelmed with shock. "Sister Xingxing, let me help you beat him up." On the ground, the little girl who looked like she was 4 or 5 years old was dancing with joy. Her eyes were filled with a bright green light, and an aura that didn't belong to her age was about to join in. "Little ancestor, behave yourself. There's no need for you to interfere." A young man held on tightly to the little girl. He was valiant and valiant. He was Qi Jiajun from the school of Yin Yang. He didn't dare to let this little ancestor cause trouble. Along the way, he knew that this little ancestor was capable of causing trouble. "Sister Xingxing, you can do it. Mother Zixuan, you can do it. Mother Cici, you can do it." After the little girl helplessly glared at Qi Jiajun, she could only cheer from below. In the misty space, golden light fluctuated. Golden talisman patterns condensed into the phantom of a golden-winged rock, and a tyrannical and sharp aura fluctuated. Within the golden light, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged. Traces of golden light circulated around his body like spiritual snakes. After an unknown period of time, Du Xiaofu withdrew his hand seal, and the golden light around him was absorbed into his body. The shadow of the golden-winged rock behind him also gradually disappeared, turning into a golden light behind him. Phew, Du Xiaofu's face regained its rosy color, and he spat out a mouthful of turbid air from his throat, shaking the void. Du Xiaofu also opened his eyes. A golden light flashed like lightning, and then it returned to its original clarity. Peering into his body, Du Xiaofu felt that the flame spirit's main body was in his Naiwan palace, and that cluster of scarlet-blue flames was spreading out. It wasn't hot, but had turned into a gentle aura. It was slowly absorbing the energy in his primordial spirit and the thunder martial vein. There was also the Xian Qi in the god's watchtower being absorbed, but everything was very slow. Although this slow speed couldn't allow Du Xiaofu to always be at his peak, it didn't cause too much of a problem. Feeling that the flame spirit didn't go back on his words, Du Xiaofu was temporarily relieved. However, he frowned slightly, and wasn't very happy. The seal outside the heavenly devil battlefield was getting weaker and weaker, and the experts who could enter were getting stronger and stronger. There were already half-saints who had entered, and perhaps there were Saint Realm experts who had already entered. However, he was still confused about the Saint Realm. This made Du Xiaofu worried. If he met a half-saint, he already had the power to resist, but if he met a true Saint Realm expert, it was far from enough. The Saint Realm was a real gap, and it was the difference between the strong and the weak of all living things. The Venerable Realm and the Domain Realm were the experts in this world, and they were the top existences of the pyramid. However, the Saint Realm was the top existence of the pyramid, and they could really overlook all living things. After seeing the dragons, legalism, school of vertical and horizontal, and those Saint Realm experts in the devil religion, Du Xiaofu was even more eager to take that step. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the capital to contend with those forces. Even if he could resist a half-saint at this moment, it was far from enough. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu frowned slightly, and his figure disappeared from the desolate ancient space. When Du Xiaofu's figure appeared, he was already outside the cave. "Here, third brother is here." A surprised voice was heard, and many figures flew over from the distant void, and landed beside Du Xiaofu in a flash. Rock Emperor. President. Smiles appeared on each of their faces. They were none other than Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Dongli Qingqing, Mianmen King, Thunderhawk King, Jiangchen, and the others. "Third brother, are you alright?" Du Xiaoman rushed over and checked on Du Xiaofu. Seeing that he was fine, her heart that was hanging in the air finally relaxed. "Big sister, I'm fine." Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. Looking at everyone's tired expressions, he knew they'd been looking for him for a long time. After chatting for a while, Du Xiaofu didn't reveal anything about the fire lightning seed. Instead, he learned that when big sister Du Xiaoman and second brother Du Yunlong had escaped from Long Yi's clutches, in addition to the farmer clan's Mo family's help, they'd also had Jiangchen's help. "Many thanks." Du Xiaofu smiled at Jiangchen. Inwardly, he was shocked. After witnessing this guy's strength, the Golden Growler's true form was truly terrifying. "No need to be so polite. If you really want to thank me, that drop of true dragon blood essence you have is quite useful to me. Just give it to me." Jiangchen raised an eyebrow at Du Xiaofu. Roar. As soon as Jiangchen spoke, a resplendent golden light poured out of Du Xiaofu's palm, accompanied by auspicious light. It emitted a dragon's roar and a terrifying pressure. "No problem." Du Xiaofu smiled and tossed a drop of blood to Jiangchen. True dragon blood essence was a precious treasure. It was far more valuable than a saint artifact. But to Du Xiaofu, a drop of true dragon blood essence couldn't compare to the value of his family. Jiangchen had helped his eldest sister, Du Xiaoman, and the others. A drop of true dragon blood essence was nothing. Not to mention, it couldn't compare to the special relationship he had with Jiangchen. They were friends, but not friends. It was hard to describe. Jiangchen's handsome face was slightly stunned. He knew this guy was stingy. He hadn't expected him to really give him true dragon blood essence. "Thank you. I owe you a favor." Jiangchen put away the true dragon blood essence. He didn't refuse, his expression as calm as ever. "How about you join my barren country?" Du Xiaofu chuckled at Jiangchen, his eyes filled with anticipation. If this guy joined the barren country, they'd definitely gain another powerful expert. This guy. When they saw Du Xiaofu's smile, Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, and the others couldn't help but laugh inwardly. This guy really was pulling people in whenever and wherever he could. However, Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, and the rest of the people present knew that the reason why the desolate nation was able to rise up in such a short period of time, other than the rallying power of Demon King Du Xiaofu, the most important factor was his ability to recruit people at any time and place. Not interested. Jiangchen glanced at Du Xiaofu and refused without hesitation. "Why don't you reconsider?" Du Xiaofu wasn't willing to give up. If he could pull this guy into the barren country, any price would be worth it. No need to consider. Jiangchen couldn't be bothered with Du Xiaofu. He walked off to the side. Sigh. Du Xiaofu sighed. Then, he asked everyone about the whereabouts of Ouyang Shuang, Du Xiaoyao, Qi Yeshi, Su Muxin, and his drunkard father. "We were separated in the heavenly devil battlefield. It's too big, so I haven't seen them again," Du Yunlong said. Du Xiaofu nodded. The heavenly devil battlefield was huge, but with Du Xiaoyao and his drunkard father's strength, they shouldn't be in too much danger. He was just worried about Ouyang Shuang and Su Muxin. Qi Yeshi should be protected by experts from the school of Yin Yang, so Du Xiaofu wasn't too worried. He continued to ask, "Is there any news about little Xingxing?" "I haven't seen him either." Du Xiaoman shook her head. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. He wasn't worried about little Xingxing. If little Xingxing had entered the heavenly devil battlefield, he should be with the Phoenix clan. He just didn't know how the little Ant Emperor was doing. He hoped that he hadn't let down the old Ant Emperor's trust and that the little Ant Emperor had successfully evolved. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, there was the sound of wind being torn apart. Many figures were flying over from afar, arriving from the void. Chapter 20-25. Rock Emperor. Many people called out as they landed beside the crowd. Those who came were from the Nong family and the Mo family. They had spread out to search for Du Xiaofu. They had a way to contact the people of the desolate country. As soon as they found Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoman had already sent a signal to the two families. Greetings to the seniors of the Nong family and the Mo family. Du Xiaofu cupped his fists and bowed to the old man. Those who came were from the Mo family and the Nong family. Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, Mo Junyu, and other familiar figures were at the front. Just now, from Du Xiaoman, Du Xiaofu learned that the Nong family and the Mo family were also helping to search for him. From the beginning until now, the Nong family and the Mo family had taken great care of him and the desolate country. All of this was engraved in Du Xiaofu's heart. He was especially respectful to the elders of the two families. Rock Emperor is too polite. The elders and experts of the Nong family and the Mo family didn't dare to be careless. The scene of the man in front of them killing Saint Shan Long and Long Yi was still deeply imprinted in their minds. In this world where strength was respected, they were very clear in their hearts that those who were stronger were first. The former's strength was enough for them to look up to, and the former's respect meant that they hadn't misjudged him. We received news that not long ago, 2 devil emperors broke out of the seal again, and several half-step saints of the devil religion appeared. Mo Runan looked at Du Xiaofu and said. The disciples of the Mo family were scattered in the heavenly devil battlefield, so they would be notified immediately if there was any important news. 2 more devil emperor primordial spirits. A total of 4 devil emperors have appeared. Du Xiaofu frowned, his expression grave. According to the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree Senior, 4 devil emperor primordial spirits were sealed outside, and the remaining 5 were sealed inside the eternal tomb. Now that the 4 devil emperor primordial spirits outside had broken out, Moksha and the 9 devil emperors had gone to help the strongest devil emperor, and arranged for the other experts to go to another secret area. Du Xiaofu guessed that those half-step saints should be the fire demon envoy, ice demon envoy, and the others of the 5 demon envoys. There's another piece of news that you should be interested in. Zhou Xiaoluo looked at Du Xiaofu and said, Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing, and Miss Qi from the Yin Yang school of the Yang school and Qi of the Phoenix race, but they didn't stop, the 2 devil emperors. The Yin Yang school of the Yin Yang school and Qi from the Phoenix race were also Niang Yin Yang Yangs and Lu Yin Yangs and En Yinzas. PFF. Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. He had finally heard some good news. At least there was news about little demon Du, little star, and Qi Yi Shi. Do you know the whereabouts of Du Xiaoyao, little star, and the others? Du Xiaofu asked Zhou Xiaoluo. He wanted to meet up with little star, Du Xiaoyao, Qi Yi Shi, and the others so that he could take care of them. You don't need to look for them. I reckon that they've all gone to the eternal tomb. Zhou Xiaoluo seemed to have seen through Du Xiaofu's thoughts and said to Du Xiaofu. The eternal tomb. Hearing that, Du Xiaofu and Dongli Qingqing's eyes flashed. Have they gone to the eternal tomb? Du Xiaofu lowered his head and pondered. Senior Heavenly Wood Divine Tree had said that there were a total of 4 demon emperors sealed outside. The remaining 5 were completely suppressed in the eternal tomb. At this moment, there were already 4 Devil Emperor primordial spirits that had broken out of the seal. It was very likely that they would return to the Tomb of Eternity to assist the other 5. Once the other 5 Devil Emperor primordial spirits broke out of the seal as well, the 9 Devil Emperors would all emerge and the great calamity of the world would completely descend. Seeing Du Xiaofu's reaction, Mo Runan was somewhat surprised. Even among the 9 great clans, there were definitely not many people who knew about the Eternal Tomb. She asked, "You also know about the Eternal Tomb?" "I've heard a senior mention it before, but I don't know where it is." "I don't know much about it either. Can Miss Mo tell me?" Du Xiaofu took the opportunity to ask. Seeing Mo Runan's reaction, she seemed to know about the Eternal Tomb. There were still 5 demon emperors sealed inside. Naturally, she would know more about the Eternal Tomb. "Let me tell you about this." The beautiful leader beside Mo Runan smiled and stepped forward slightly. Looking at Du Xiaofu, there was an uncontrollable fluctuation in her eyes. She said, "There are several secret places in the Heavenly Devil battlefield, such as the Heavenly Yu Mountain and the Myriad Spirit Burial Domain. But the most mysterious one is the Eternal Tomb. Almost all the ancestors of the 9 great clans are inside. It is said that it was once the battlefield between the Dragon God and that mysterious Supreme Expert against the Demon God. The Dragon God, the mysterious Supreme Expert." Such words made Du Xiaofu's heart tremble. That was little Xingxing's father and the Lord of the 3,000 vast worlds. The Eternal Tomb was their battlefield against the Demon God. If the Demon Emperors are not dead, then the ancestors of the 9 great clans may not have fallen in the Eternal Tomb. The old man leading the farmer clan looked expectant and his body trembled slightly. Those Demon Emperors were suppressed in the Heavenly Devil battlefield. Since the Demon Emperor's primordial spirits had already emerged, then it was very likely that the ancestors of the farmer clan had not fallen. Du Xiaofu did not speak, but his heart was in turmoil. Those Demon Emperors had already emerged, and there was also the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree. Even ancient experts like Master Huilei had not fallen since ancient times. If there were ancestors of the 9 great clans in the Eternal Tomb, they would definitely be at the Saint Realm. They would not have fallen so easily. His expression kept changing. Du Xiaofu was both happy and worried. Du Xiaofu was happy that if there really were ancient experts of the 9 great clans in the Eternal Tomb, then they would have the power to resist those demon emperors. Du Xiaofu was worried that the school of vertical and horizontal, dragons, and legalism already had Saint Realm experts. Now, there was also the addition of a famous expert. If there was another group of ancient experts, then his days would be even more difficult. Looking at Du Xiaofu, Zhou Xiaoluo's eyebrows moved slightly. Her eyes flashed, and her voice was like the sound of nature. She said softly, "There is another piece of news. I don't know if it is good or bad news for you." "Miss Zhou, please speak." Du Xiaofu asked. Outside the Heavenly Devil battlefield, according to the news from the Farmer clan, many half-saints have already entered the Heavenly Devil battlefield, including the half-saints of the School of Legalism and School of Vertical and Horizontal. They should all be searching for the true location of the Eternal Tomb. It is very important and relates to the true fate of the clans. Zhou Xiaoluo smiled helplessly. Her beautiful face was moving. She continued, "In addition, the seal outside the Heavenly Devil battlefield will completely dissipate in a few days. At that time, the saints will be able to directly enter." What I was worried about really came, Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. He was worried that the saints would come in. He did not expect it to be so soon. As for the half-saints, one of the dragons had already come. The devil religion had also sent 5 devil envoys. The rest were nowhere to be seen. It turned out that they had all gone to search for the Eternal Tomb. Those devil emperors only broke out of the seal inside the Heavenly Devil battlefield with their nascent spirits. Their physical bodies are already outside. Although their physical bodies are not at their strongest, they still cannot enter the heavenly devil battlefield because of the seal outside. However, once the seal outside completely dissipates, their physical bodies and nascent spirits will merge into one and recover their full strength. Zhou Xiaoluo's face turned solemn. As the proud daughter of the Nong family, she knew a lot of secrets. Even the ancient ancestors couldn't kill those devil emperors. So, one could imagine how terrifying they would be once they recovered their full strength. Chapter 2026. It's really going to be lively now. Dongli Qingqing smiled. However, everyone could see that the smile on her beautiful face was filled with a kind of seriousness that couldn't be removed. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. We'll see when the time comes. Du Xiaofu shrugged and asked Zhou Xiaoluo, Mo Runan, and the others, do you know where the Tomb of Eternity is? We received news from a senior of the Mo family not long ago. The location of the Tomb of Eternity has been roughly confirmed. Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, and the others have hurried to the Tomb of Eternity. I think someone must have sent news to them. Mo Runan nodded. She looked at Du Xiaofu and said, the other clans have probably received news from their experts and are hurrying to the Tomb of Eternity. We should go to the Tomb of Eternity as well, said Zhou Xiaoluo. Have all the half-saints gone? Then let's hurry over. Du Xiaofu faced him and spoke. There was anticipation in his eyes, and there was also a wisp of cold light that flashed through them without leaving a trace. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Qi Yeshi, and the others had all gone to the Tomb of Eternity. They could meet up with them. Du Xiaofu guessed that the half-saints of the School of Legalism, the School of Famous, and the School of Vertical and Horizontal must be near the Tomb of Eternity right now. They could find an opportunity to deal with the saints before they could enter. Otherwise, once the saints and the ancient ancestors of the 9 clans emerged from the Tomb of Eternity, there would be no more opportunities. It would be a huge problem for them. A while later, the vast group of people took to the air and hurried to the Tomb of Eternity. Along the way, Du Xiaofu asked about Sima Muhan from the Mo family. He learned that Sima Muhan, Sima Taxing, and the others were with another group of experts from the Mo family. They should be hurrying to the Tomb of Eternity right now. What worried Du Xiaofu slightly was that his alcoholic father, Ouyang Shuang, and Su Muxin were still unknown. The School of Agriculture and the Mo family had not noticed them either. Maybe they're also heading towards the Eternal Tomb. I didn't receive any news because the people in my race didn't pay attention. Zhou Xiaoluo said to Du Xiaofu. Every clan had their own secret method of transmitting information, but this transmission of information came at a great cost. Usually, only the most important information would be transmitted. Du Xiaofu didn't ask any more questions. He could only go to the Eternal Tomb first. The heavenly devil battlefield was still the same. However, for some reason, those demonic beasts became even crazier. Powerful demonic beasts appeared everywhere and attacked the living beings of various races. These demonic beasts were extremely powerful, causing people to be wary of them. Once they encountered a demonic beast tide, they would be doomed. These demonic beasts seemed to be heading towards a certain place. Could it be that something big has happened? Someone discovered that a large number of demonic beasts were all heading in the same direction, as if they had been summoned by something. Let's follow them and take a look. With such a huge commotion, it must be unusual. Someone said. Wealth came from danger. They followed behind the demonic beasts from afar, hoping to find an opportunity. I heard that the people of the 9 great clans are heading towards a place called the Eternal Tomb. That's the core of the heavenly devil battlefield. It's very important. There must be treasures there. I heard that too. The powerful beings of various races are also heading towards the Eternal Tomb. Let's follow them and take a look. Who knows, we might find an opportunity. Hurry up and follow them. Don't miss out on the opportunity. Discussions were everywhere. The news of the eternal tomb gradually spread. In the vast forest, the towering trees were about 100 feet tall. Some were even a few hundred feet tall. The strange trees were different from the outside world. They extended to the sky and covered the mountain range. The mountain range stretched as far as the eye could see. There was an inconspicuous mountain peak hidden in the depths of the forest. The dense towering trees around it didn't move at all. It was extremely strange. However, upon closer inspection, one would realize that this large area of space had silently frozen. There was a strange aura that permeated the surroundings like air, freezing the void. On the mountain peak, towering trees clustered around it. At this moment, there were 9 figures standing quietly. They gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. The aura they faintly released was enough to make living creatures tremble. Among the 9 people, there was a well-built old man with long hair and a beard. His face was old and strong. He seemed to be in his twilight years, but he gave off a powerful and majestic feeling. If Du Xiaofu were here, he would definitely recognize this person as Old Huang, whom he had met once at the legalism conference. He was a demi-saint level demonic beast and had fought with Old Lei before. He was extremely powerful. What was shocking was that the aura of the other 8 people was not much weaker than Old Huang. There was no doubt that they were all powerful beings of the same level. The gathering of 9 powerful beings was enough to make the world tremble. However, at this moment, the 9 of them had concealed their aura. It was obvious that they did not want others to know. Everyone, since everyone is here, let's get straight to the point. There was an old woman beside Old Huang. Her long hair was like the first snow of winter, like the first frost of autumn. Half of her silver hair was covered, and her face was wrinkled. It was as if the twists and turns of her life were engraved on it, telling the vicissitudes of life. The silver-haired old woman looked at the 8 people beside her. There was a faint chill in her eyes. Her voice was icy as she continued, "That little bastard Du Xiaofu must die. Otherwise, there will be no end to the future. With his growth speed, I'm afraid that he won't be far from breaking through to the saint stage. At that time, I'm afraid that all of our clans will be exterminated. That bastard is detestable. My clan's disciples have all fallen at his hands. My clan and he cannot exist under the same sky. No matter the price, we must kill him." A thin but extremely tall old man was filled with anger. His cheeks were severely sunken, and his face, which was covered with deep wrinkles, was trembling in anger. "That brat killed my Red Fire Demon Lion clan's people. He must pay the price." A skinny old man's body shook. He was wearing red clothes. His face was old, but he had a well-built body that was as straight as a pole. There was a fiery and vigorous aura on his body that was extremely frightening and caused one's heart to palpitate. "My Demon Vulture clan is not done with that brat. No matter who it is, he must pay the price for killing my Demon Vulture clan's disciples." Another old woman spoke. On her wrinkled face, she had a hooked nose and a long chin. It was as if 2 hooks were stuck together. This old woman's hair was very eye-catching. Half of it was white and half of it was black. Her skinny body was tightly wrapped in a thick black cloak. Her intimidating eyes made one's soul palpitate just by looking up. "He dared to touch my Heavenly Serpent clan's people. Does that little bastard really think that no one can kill him just because he has the protection of the Golden-Winged Rock clan?" An old man beside the cloaked woman from the Demon Vulture tribe revealed a cold murderous glint in his eyes. His hair was combed until not a single strand was messy. Strands of silver hair were clearly visible amidst his black hair. Within his slightly sunken eye sockets, a pair of dark brown eyes fluctuated, as though an unusual phenomenon had surfaced. "The Golden-Winged Rock clan won't be able to jump around for long. That little bastard must die, and so must the rest of the barren country's people. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots to prevent future troubles." Leave no one alive. A middle-aged man in battle clothes stepped out. His voice was low, and his eyes were filled with golden light. It was as if there was a dragon's shadow circling in them. His gaze swept across the 8 people, and finally fell on Elder Huang of the legalism. He said, "Huang Zhu, many people from the legalism have died at the hands of that little bastard. I wonder what the legalism's attitude is this time." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Elder Huang's expression changed slightly. He already knew everything that had happened in the Heavenly Devil battlefield. Legalism had lost almost everyone. Among the younger generation, except for Du Xiaojing, there was no one else who could walk out. The legalism had suffered heavy losses, one after another. Back when he was in the school of legalism, he thought that such a young man would be able to look down on everyone even in the primordial era. He was right. In such a short period of time, the young man had already reached such a level. Before they came in, no one in the Heavenly Devil battlefield could be his opponent. The legalism will naturally advance and retreat with everyone. That brat can't be left alive. Elder Huang said. His voice was calm, but there was a slight fluctuation in his eyes. To be honest, he was somewhat reluctant and regretful to kill that brat. If such a young man could be used by the legalism, it would be a great help. Together with Du Xiaojing, that pair of brother and sister would be enough to make the legalism suppress and prosper in the world. However, at this point, the school of legalism had missed the chance to rope in that kid. Now that things had come to this, the school of legalism had suffered heavy losses one after another. They had reached a point where they had no choice but to get rid of them. If they allowed them to continue growing, none of them would be able to stop them. This was the school of legalism's intention when he entered the Heavenly Devil battlefield. Horned Dragon, was Shanglong really killed by that brat, or did someone help him? Elder Huang asked the middle-aged man in battle clothes. I received news that it was done by that little bastard alone. He has already reached the pinnacle of the undying realm. The middle-aged man in battle clothes, who was called Horned Dragon, had a cold look in his eyes. Long Yi, Long Air, and the other dragons had lost all their hopes. Shang Long had also lost his dragon soul mark not long ago. There was news that he had been killed by that brat. This kind of loss was not just a serious injury to the dragons, but a great loss to their internal organs. The price was too great. That brat must die, and the desolate country must be eradicated. He already has such strength. Hearing this, everyone's eyes rippled, and their expressions were complicated. Not to mention that it was extremely abnormal for someone at the pinnacle of the undying realm to kill a sage-to-be. Not to mention that the brat had already reached such a level in such a short period of time. It made them, who had cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, blush with shame. What made their expressions change the most was that if Shan Long Saint was really killed by Du Xiaofu, it undoubtedly proved that the brat already had the strength to kill them. None of them believed that they were much stronger than Shan Long Saint. Chapter 2027. Among the 9 people, an old man and an old woman who had not spoken all this time looked at each other in dismay at this moment. Ripples appeared in their eyes. Scorpio, ground spider, it hasn't been easy for you to cultivate to this level. You should know some secrets of this world. The great calamity of the world is coming again, and no one can resist it. When the time comes, no one will be able to escape. However, some people are exceptions and can escape. If you follow us dragons, you will naturally be able to avoid the calamity. The horned dragon took in the old man and woman's expressions and spoke calmly. His eyes darkened as he said, "The tomb of eternity is about to open. Our ancestors will definitely be able to walk out. Who knows, they might even allow you to take the last step. When the time comes, you can avoid the calamity and step into the saint realm. There is an even wider world waiting for you. Otherwise, it will be difficult to escape the calamity. Therefore, the opportunity now lies in your hands." Hearing the horned dragon's words, the old man's brown eyes flashed. He and the old woman looked at each other, both of them deep in thought. It was indeed not easy for them to cultivate. They had lived for a long time and knew many secrets of this world. Therefore, they had always been in seclusion and did not care about the outside world. When the heavenly devil battlefield opened, they waited to enter. They wanted to seek an opportunity to help them take the last step. Otherwise, even before the great calamity came, their lifespans would be coming. Even if that little bastard relied on the divine lightning cauldron and killed Shang Long, with us together, killing that brat would be as easy as flipping our palms. At that time, what can the golden-winged great rocks do? When our ancestors walk out of the tomb of eternity, the great golden-winged rocks won't be able to jump around for much longer, the horned dragons continued. Hearing this and hearing the 3 words divine thunder cauldron, everyone's eyes lit up. We will naturally advance and retreat together with the dragons. The old man called Scorpio pondered and made a decision after weighing the pros and cons. Hearing Scorpio's words, everyone's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. Scorpio and Ground Spider were not simple. Now that they were walking together with the dragons, it seemed that they had been roped in by the dragons. This was not a good thing for the other factions, but from the looks of it, the more the better. News of the Tomb of Eternity has spread. I believe that little bastard Du Xiaofu will definitely rush over. Those from the desolate country will definitely come as well. This time, we will kill them all, by the roots to kill them all, the horned dragon, dragon, the dragon. The horned dragon sneered. Coldness shot out from the corner of his eyes and his face was sunken. Then, he glanced at old Huang in a seemingly unintentional manner and said, "It's because the school of legalism didn't remove the roots that they got into this mess. We can't make another mistake. Horned dragon, watch your words. My school of legalism has also suffered heavy losses, and many of our disciples have died. Quite a few of your dragon clan's disciples were killed by that brat, but that's because your descendants are too weak. It has nothing to do with the school of legalism." Elder Huang said. He looked at the serpent dragon, and his eyes flickered. "Huang Zhu, are you saying that the descendants of legalism are stronger than the descendants of the dragons?" The horned dragon stared at Elder Huang and kept calling him by his name. As a dragon, he had the pride of a dragon. Our legalism has an innate saint. Dragons can spar with him at any time. However, the 9 descendants of the dragons have all died. I'm afraid you won't be able to find anyone else. The corner of Huang Zhu's mouth twitched. He looked at the horned dragon and said with a faint smile, "However, if you're not convinced, I can exchange a few moves with you. I want to see how far you've progressed over the years and how far you're still from the true sage realm." The horned dragon's expression was ugly. Huang Zhu was rubbing salt on the dragon's wounds. His eyes were gloomy. "Brother Huang Zhu, brother horned dragon, please don't ruin the harmony between the two of you. Our goal this time is to get rid of that great threat." The silver-haired old lady who spoke first spoke. She was afraid that the horned dragon and Huang Zhu would fight. At this moment, the other people also stepped forward to separate the horned dragon and Huang Zhu. They didn't want to have internal strife before getting rid of that scourge. The horned dragon stared at Huang Zhu and said gloomily, "I'm afraid you don't have the strength to fight anymore. You've lived for so long, but you've never stepped into the true saint realm. If you're still alive after the heavenly devil battlefield, I'd like to see how far you've come. I'll keep you company." Huang Zhu's expression was calm, but there were waves in his heart. He was indeed close to the end of his lifespan. If he fought now, it would consume his life force and accelerate the arrival of his lifespan. He had been a half-saint for a long time and lived for a long time. However, he couldn't escape his lifespan. He had been seeking to improve further and step into the true saint realm. That way, he would be able to live again. However, the saint realm was too difficult. He couldn't succeed even if he used all his strength. Therefore, he entered the heavenly devil battlefield this time as the vanguard of legalism. He wanted to find opportunities in the heavenly devil battlefield to improve further and live again. If he failed this time, the end of his lifespan would come. I've heard that the desolate country has many honorable martial artists. We have to kill them all in one fell swoop. Otherwise, they'll be a threat in the future," said a tall, thin elder from the family of famers. The deep wrinkles on his face trembled. Everyone nodded silently when they heard the elder's words. Almost all of the younger generation in their clan had been killed. They no longer had any leading figures. However, the desolate country had many honorable martial artists among the younger generation. There were many geniuses. Even if Du Xiaofu was killed, the desolate country would still be terrifying and cause endless trouble. If another terrifying kid like Du Xiaofu appeared in the desolate country, the various clans wouldn't be able to afford the price. Therefore, they didn't just have to kill that scourge this time. They also had to eradicate the entire desolate country. I've heard that Du Xiaofu's little bastard's father, Du Tingxian, is also a great honorable nirvana. He obtained the inheritance of Jinlei Tensei. He also has a small mutated dragon and a red-bone horse monkey. These three definitely can't be left alive. They have to be eliminated," said the horned dragon. From the information the dragons had received, Du Tingxian and the other two were the most terrifying existences in the desolate country aside from that little bastard. They definitely couldn't be left alive. We also have to be wary of the school of agriculture, the school of Moism, and the school of Yin-Yang interfering. I've heard that the school of Taoism and the school of Confucianism are also very close to that kid. This time, we better not have any accidents. The silver-haired old lady spoke again. Her eyes were cold. She was from the school of vertical and horizontal. She had been in seclusion all this time in order to advance further. She was only summoned when the heavenly devil battlefield opened this time. She found out about the recent losses the school of vertical and horizontal had suffered. In particular, a few of her direct descendants with extraordinary bloodlines had also met with misfortune. This made her furious and unable to hold back her anger. She was determined to kill that scourge. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.